Hi there, this is Tyler, and I am running Monster of the Week, the Dog Days of Dalton, for Gauntlet's GCOG, which is our online gaming kind of a convention, kind of a little mini con, where we get together and do some one-shots or do some short runs. It is open to the public, completely free. This is ours in October, but we run them regularly about every 3 months. Along with that, the Gauntlet has up usually 100 or so games every month, and people are able to come in. We have a Patreon, but if you want to, come in for free and try us out, there are games up there, and people do get in them. We have a wait list, so if you come on and you say, boy, everything's full, if you hop on that wait list, there's a good shot you're going to get a chance to play. We also put out a zine. We have a forum. We do lots and lots of things for the hobby that if you enjoy gaming, we have a lot of it here for you to do. You can find us at gauntlet-rpg.com. We also have a couple of podcasts out there, Fear the Black Dragon and Plus One Forward, and our own Gauntlet podcast. So come join us, find us. It's a lot of fun. We, as I said, are going to be playing Monster of the Week, which is one of my favorite PBTAs. I've run it and played it a ton. And it is a little bit like, say, a Buffy the Vampire Slayer or an X-Files. Now, I have a habit of running it a little horror. I like some horror. And so there may be a little bit of scary going on, but it is October. It's the creepy month, so hopefully that'll be a fun thing. Now, I've already gone over with our players here some of our safety tools because, A, I believe strongly in using safety tools, and the Gauntlet also believes strongly in using safety tools. We have the X card on the table. We have Alliance and Fails, which we're going to go over what that is here in a moment. And we also are going to have a moment where we do a little tone and content sort of discussion. I urge everybody, use safety tools. It makes the experience a whole lot better for everybody. Now, I'm going to discuss a little bit about Dalton. This is Dalton, Kentucky, where we're going to be playing, which is out in the hills. This is a part of Kentucky which is your cell phone reception, very spotty. The hills and the valleys around here are kind of insular, and Dalton itself is a small town that has been here for quite a while. Obviously, there were plenty of natives who lived here long before the Europeans arrived. And during that time, Dalton, the valley that Dalton was in, had a little bit of a bad reputation. Spooky things were said to happen in the area around Dalton going back thousands and thousands of years. Now, when the settlers began moving in, you get a lot of immigrants, kind of the Scotch-Irish, some of the English. Later on, you'll be getting people coming in from Ireland, things like that. And it was primarily, at first, kind of hard scrabble farming. And then comes the mines. And coal was here being mined. And there was some iron being mined. And occasionally, somebody'd get lucky and run across something a little more valuable, like silver or gold. That was very rare. Instead, the mining here was hard. It was going in there into the deep pits, pulling out coal for relatively little pay. When the mines ran dry, which would be about the turn of the century, but in the early 1900s, Dalton had to pivot to some other form of making their money. And logging came in, and there was a real problem with kind of stripping out the lumber in the areas around it. But in Dalton, there wasn't as much of that because there were lumbermen and the companies that went in and found that strange things would happen when they'd get in some of these hollers. Strange things would happen when you went through some of these forests. It just wasn't worth the money to try and go in there. And so we still have some very old wood around Dalton. Along with lumber, we have a bit of a tourist industry because Dalton does have a couple of really good skiing mountains areas. So during winter, they get in some outsiders who do skiing and enjoying kind of winter sports. During the fall, they get people to come and see the trees and leaves change. And during the summer, there's a good bit of hiking around the area. However, if you really went in and looked, you'd find that there's a higher than average amount of hikers and skiers who go missing around Dalton. Now, people, these woods are unforgiving, even in the best of times. So people just get lost sometimes up in the hills. But folks in Dalton realize that it isn't always the wisest thing to go out there hiking, especially alone. So that's our town of Dalton. And it's probably no more than 1,000 people in the entire area around it. They have a sheriff, and his name is Dale Cosgrove, and his deputy, Sherry Manson, and they keep the peace in the place. Downtown Dalton is really just one stoplight and a few stores. They've got a Piggly Wiggly grocery store. They've got a hardware store. They've got the diner, and they have actually 2 bars. One is for people who are from out of town or for the young folks. And then they have a much more divey bar where all the locals will go. They have a library, which is also home to their historical society and their local newspaper, which, despite print dying off, the Dalton residents are really proud that they keep their little paper going. It's just one guy who runs it, but, it manages to come out once a week so everybody can see it. We are looking at a problem here in Dalton, though, that here within the last couple of weeks, 3 people have disappeared. And this has come to the attention of the Kentucky Department of Criminal Investigations. And the Kentucky Department of Criminal Investigations has a couple of duties. They're a statewide organization that really is there to look into tax problems or to look into internal corruption. But as a weirdness, they've also kind of taken over things like human trafficking, or for Kentucky, things like bootlegging. And there's a feel the sheriff has written to them to say that he's concerned that there might be human trafficking involved in these people disappearing. Now, he's only been in Dalton for about 3 years. And as an outsider, he finds all these disappearances odd. People of Dalton would have told him that, it's just Dalton. But he's really wanting to get to the end of this. So he's set off for some help. Now, you 3 have the option here of playing either someone from Dalton, someone from outside of Dalton coming to investigate this, or even someone from the department being sent in by the state to investigate in an official capacity. We're going to start around. Scott, do you think you have an idea of your character?
Yeah, so I'm playing the Gumshoe. My name is Scott. I use he, him pronouns. I'm thinking of playing somebody who's a cross between, and you're going to have to know detective shows. Thomas Magnum, of course, classic 80s, tough guy, and Detective Mooney from the Death in Paradise show, a more recent show, a British, actually a co-British and French production. The one's kind of a buffoonish, so they're going to be a great match. These 2 personas smashed together, and so I'm just picking the name now. I'm going to be a male. He's going to use he, him pronouns. It's probably Tommy, I'm thinking, for the first name, in reference to Magnum himself. But yeah, so I think that's where I'm going.
Awesome.
Thomas Derringer, to go like the opposite way of Magnum.
That's actually perfect. That's what it is.
And are you thinking that you are from Dalton, coming in outside of Dalton, or you think you're actually the law?
I don't want to be the law. I think I'm local, but not to Dalton.
Okay,
So I know
Kentucky,
Dalton. I may have been here once or twice. But yeah, I'm not. I don't live here.
Okay.
So I still have to go to the visitors bar.
Perfect. And for moves for folks, for your playbook moves, and we'll come back, Scott, once we've done a little introduction, see if you have your moves. But if you can't figure out what move you want here at the beginning, feel free to, during play, pick one that says, that fits for me. So we can leave those spaces blank and pull them in during play, and that's perfectly fine. Will, what are you thinking of?
So I am playing Daniel Palmer, the Seeker. And I am thinking that Daniel is a guy who has always been driven to find the hidden things. And I think that maybe he works for like a national missing persons sort of like NGO type thing. You know, like expert, like, you know, like you have like legal experts, outside consultants, that kind of thing. He is very, very good at finding missing people one way or the other.
Nice.
He has been called in for this. He is not a Dalton resident. He is from the South, because you know, if you will all indulge me doing a really bad Southern accent, I would love to. I find it easy. It would be fun to do. You know, yeah. And should I talk about some of his moves? Or
we'll come back around. We'll come back around and hit moves. I will say for you and Scott both, I'm going to do, and for you as well, Kim, I'm going to do an abbreviated history for our characters. So kind of look at your history questions, and you're going to put out one of them, just so we have some connection between all of our characters. Kim, would you like to introduce yourself and your character?
Yes. I will be playing Winter Peterson, she, her. I'll be using this playbook, The Spooky. I think that I left Dalton and then had to come back for some reason. And so...
Nice.
Actually, I don't know this. I tend to curse. Is that okay?
I will be dropping plenty of F-bombs all the way through this thing. Feel free.
Okay. And she's goth as fuck, but
excellent.
Also like past high school, so not as goth as she could be.
Okay. Wonderful. All right. So we've at least got what our playbooks are, a little touch of what they're like, what their background is here. And just to kind of go with something Will said there, you're probably noticing I have a heavy Southern accent. If I say something and you go, what the hell did he just say? If you don't understand what I say somewhere, just ask me, because there is no doubt I have a very Southern accent. So I'm going to go over real quick before we get any further our lines and veils. If my spreadsheet will pop up. There it is. Just so that we're all aware of them and can keep them in mind as we play. My computer is being a little slow. There we go. We're going to put a veil on alcoholism, meaning that we know it's out there. It's not going to be a focus. We're not going to have that as something we camera in on. We're going to have a line on childhood abandonment. So just lines, we just won't have that in our game. Going to have a line on harm to animals. Very good. We're going to have a line on homophobia, and we're going to have a line on sexual assault. We're also going to have a veil on harm to children, in the sense that it can be something that happens, but we're not going to have that be on camera. That's not going to be a thing we see. And I don't think that's going to be a massive problem. I do, just to make sure we are dealing with the black dog of Dalton. It is a supernatural creature. Is everyone going to be okay, considering our harm to animals issue, that a supernatural creature is not going to cross that line? I will say it is definitely not going to seem like a natural animal. All right, cool. As long as that's good, then there we have our lines. we can feel free to add to them. I'll try and look in on them as we go. We will take a couple of breaks during the course of our little 4-hour run, and I will always check in on them as I come back from break. So with character introductions, I'm going to give a couple of tidbits of information for folks that, based on what I've learned there, and then we're going to go back around and maybe hear what moves you had and hear about your history with someone. So, for you, Scott, considering you're the detective, you've been here to Dalton before. I think that it is something well that you would know well is that people of Dalton tend to, while they are polite to the visitors of the town, there's always a distance between a townie and a person who's coming to visit. It's a place that you feel like, especially with your senses, has secrets. And the families that live here, in a lot of cases, have lived here for hundreds of years. Now, I'm not playing into that hillbilly stereotype. That is not what Dalton is like. But it is an insular town. And by kind of the necessity of living up in Appalachia, they recognize the hillbilly stereotype, and they'll occasionally play into that for tourists, like they sell things to tourists, like the corncob pipe or the little wizened apple doll. They'll sell that crap to people. But these are folks who, they have the internet. They've got cell phones. These are not people in overalls and no teeth. These are modern people.
It's a Stephen King main town in the South, basically. Like,
yeah,
they've got the townies and the outsiders, but the townies are still just normal people. Like,
very correct. So for Scott, I believe you said Tommy. Mm-hmm. I want to ask, do you think you've been here often enough that that there's a little warming of that? Have you made a few connections, talked to a few folks here in town enough that they know who you are?
I think so, since I've got that the one core gumshoe move is the Naked City, where you have contacts. So I think it makes sense that I've been here enough that I'm in a middle zone.
Okay,
so I have some
friends.
Too. There's some secrets no one will ever tell me, probably, unless I find them out myself. Mm-hmm. And maybe I've helped a few here with cases or whatever that they had. So I think, to make the move valuable, for sure, I'm an accepted outsider, I think would be
I like that.
a good way to phrase it.
And I want to ask, just to kind of frame up this, our sheriff, again, a fairly new sheriff, so you probably had come to Dalton before he was there. How was your relationship with him? Think it's positive, or is he like, oh, this guy?
I mean, I've got to go with the Mooney side of my mashup, and it's positive. He's
nice.
He's friendly to he's friendly to everybody. Regardless of even if he thinks they're the suspect.
Cool. All right. So I think probably we'll have Sheriff Cosgrove with this opinion that you're an effective detective. You're someone he trusts to not come in and cause trouble. You're actually a person who is a professional. Oh, shoot. My phone. Sorry. There. All right, cool. So I think we got a nice little image there. Would you like to tell us your moves?
Yeah, so the first one is the gumshoe moves are interesting in that you often don't roll for them. So occult confidential, first time in mystery, observe a thing. I can ask a question from the investigative mystery list without having to roll. Then I have a set of contacts. We'll pick the 4 categories that they're from, and then I can hit them up for information. They basically will give me a +1 on an investigation roll. Okay. And then I chose for my third move And actually, one of the things I like about that character is you have those 2 moves baked in, and those are kind of really great core and investigator moves. But I have the postman always rings twice, so I can re-roll. I've been in a long-running game with Tyler, and my rolls have been so up or down that I wanted a little buffer to get some in the middle, maybe. So
nice choices. And did you decide to stick with the primary magic roll, or did you go with one of the more weirdness?
I think the one that I was going to go with, if Kim, you weren't going to use it, was where'd it go? The trust your gut roll, the move,
Okay.
Which just lets you roll plus weird. And kind of my gut will give me a pointer in a direction that may or may not actually be the mystery, but will be into something interesting.
I think Kim actually was going for the trust your gut.
Is that one you wanted, Kim?
Is that what you wanted? Because I have a backup.
Yes, I'd love trust your gut if you have a backup.
Okay, good. I always have backups. So in that case, I'm going to do the illuminated.
Nice. And that's where you have a past life, is that right?
No.
I'm enlightened somehow from the Secret Masters. Which is a benevolent conspiracy, of course. Has to be benevolent, right? So I roll, and they'll get me some kind of message that might help. So
nice.
Yeah.
Excellent. Sounds wonderful. We'll come back to a history question here once we've gone around and you've heard who everybody's like. I will point out, because we're here on our first person, all of you, especially our spooky, are aware that there is the supernatural world out there. You have all been involved in your past with spooky, weird stuff. So no one's going to be coming in, unless that's something you particularly want. No one comes in blind when we have weird stuff start happening. All right. Will, why don't you tell us about your moves there, and I may have a question or two for you.
Sure. Well, Daniel Palmer has the moves Occam's Broadsword. Again, when I first encounter something strange, I can ask them what kind of thing it is. And I get +1 forward when dealing with that particular thing. And that can be monsters, phenomena, weird people, that kind of stuff. I also, the thing that brought me to my strange seeking life is the psychic event when I began to perceive the other world. So I may use the act under pressure move to use the sensitive move.
Nice.
So I've got 2 weird moves, effectively. My other one is just another day. When I have to act under pressure due to a monster, phenomenon, or physical effect, I can roll plus weird instead of plus cool. So I will leave that to your discretion, Tyler, how that interacts with my psychic event using sensitive move,
Okay.
Because it's just something that I only realized after choosing it. And my weird move that I went for is past lives. When I opened my brain up to discover previous incarnations, hoping to discover something. And what I was hoping that we could frame that as is that rather than it being like Daniel Palmer's past lives, it's the lives of past people, as in dead people who are gone, kind of thing, like locals. And like, so wherever he is, whenever he uses that, it's like a memory that someone who was once here has had, rather than his own kind of reincarnations.
I got you, sort of a medium.
Not like
I'm
talking to ghosts, but like I just remember something that I should never have known,
Okay. Yeah, I can go with that. That sounds excellent.
And I just wanted to, on the back of Scott's choice of the Illuminated, in my series of Months of the Week I had the Illuminated was the AI chip that the professional had in their head, and that was their Illuminated master was telling them the AI. So I'm curious as to what form Scott's secret masters are going to take.
All right. So, Daniel is very much an outsider, it sounds like. He's coming in because he searches out missing people. So yes. I'm going to tell you a little bit. First off, the 3 people who are missing are Brian Lotz, who is, who is 41 and was a skier who had come up at the very early part of the season, one of the first snows, and disappeared about 3 weeks ago. The second is Mark Stockton. He's 36, and he is a photographer who had come to try and get pictures of the bears in the area, and at least the Dalton folks think he probably found some. But he's been missing now for about 2 weeks. And the one that may have gotten on your radar that really has the town kind of upset is Tammy Blaylock, who is 19. She's a local from a family that's been here for a very long time, the Blaylocks. She had a promising sort of future ahead of her, was going to go off to college. And she went missing about a week ago, which is when the sheriff decided to contact the authorities. That really got on their radar. Now,
that's when the Disparu organization, a Canadian French missing persons that works all across North America, offers its services, I suppose.
Excellent. So probably would have gotten in touch with her mother and father. They're both there. And they are really very upset. And the information they would have told you is she knew this area. She wouldn't have just wandered off. She was going to school. The police have told them she might be a runaway, but they know better than that. There's no way that was the case. And that she had a boyfriend. His name is Luke Rollins. And that Luke is just broken up about it, that they were very much in love, and that this is just something strange has happened. They're really hoping that you can go out there and track something down. Okay.
I'll find your daughter, Mr. and Mrs. Blaylock, one way or the other. No, I don't say one way or the other. I've just come from playing a much more grizzled person than this.
Thank you. We just don't know where else to turn. So we're going to scoot over. Kim, what moves are you thinking for your spooky?
I am thinking that I will be hunches when something bad is about to happen somewhere you aren't. I'll maybe know about it. Tune in. You can attune your mind to a monster or a minion. And the sight. I can see invisible things and possibly make bargains with them. And then playing on that, I picked the extra weirdness of trust your gut.
Nice. I like trust your gut. Excellent. Now you grew up here and then moved away and now have had to come back. So I'm going to ask first, when did you leave and why?
I left when I was 17 and I went to college.
What'd you study?
I studied gender studies.
Nice. Did you finish college?
I did.
And now what brought you back?
I'm not entirely certain. I just know that anytime I tried to go anywhere else, I was deeply uncomfortable. Not socially deeply uncomfortable, but spookily deeply uncomfortable, and eventually picked up on I was supposed to stay in Dalton.
How long have you been back?
3 years.
Okay, so you've gotten back into kind of the Dalton society. Do you have a job here? Do you live with your family? Is your family still here?
I live with my sister, who is still here, and her 2 kids. And I work at the tourist bar.
Nice. Perfect. All right. Well, you know a bit more about Dalton, so you're aware of kind of those inner secrets. First off, strange shit happens in Dalton all the time. Anybody who lives here knows it. They know that there are places, there are hollers, there are hills that you flat out you don't go. there's stuff lurking around in Dalton that are ancient, and a smart person avoids them. A stupid person will go and poke them, and a damn fool will try to deal with them. And I don't know which one of those three you might be drawn to be in, but folks know that around here. You also know that that Blaylock family has been here for ages, and that they're what you call good folks, work hard, and that's their one daughter, and she really was kind of their pride and joy, and was probably going to be heading off to Lexington to university. She was just whip smart. I'm putting it in past tense. I guess that's not very optimistic, but she is whip smart. And you know that her boyfriend, Luke Rollins, football star, has a chance to go to a junior college. Still waiting to hear if that's going to happen. He's not really the greatest student, but he plays football, so he probably will get into a university. And one other little thing I'll seed into you here is, of Granny McLean, and I'm going to ask if you have any relationship with her. Granny McLean is the last of the McLean clan. Some people say that she was the last McLean born, but nobody alive still remembers back then. Most folks will say she's 100. She may be, she may not be that old, but she sure looks it. She don't come into town often. She has a cabin back off at the McLean lands. But everyone around here says she's a witch. Say that if you need a root cast, Granny McLean knows how to do it. If you got somebody giving you the evil eye, Granny McLean knows how to make them blink. They'll see her come into town with her stick, walking along. Nobody messes with her. She'll pick up her bourbon. She'll pick up her groceries, and she'll head back to her cabin. And I'm curious, you ever go and associate much with Granny? You ever gone to talk with her or hang out with her?
Yes. Not a lot of people know this, but something bad happened to Granny McLean while I was a teenager, and I picked up her groceries and went and talked to her, had tea with her, and she kind of helped me with whatever weird adolescent things were happening with my powers.
Wonderful. And you know that while she's gruff and foul-mouthed and, well, honestly, she's pretty mean, deep down inside, she's a really kind of caring person, and she was kind to you, but she don't put up with no guff. If she ain't 90, she ain't a day. So she's been here for as long as anybody can remember. But we have then established that you know her. She's a friend. So I'm going to come back around. We're going to set up a little history questions between things. So ideally, we're going to have everyone with at least one history between you. So Scott, is there a question on your history section that you like, that you would be interested with someone here?
I'm interested. Well, it would depend on their characters. I'll read it, and then they can tell me. I like you first met on Unsolved Crimes website. Decide together what infamous, crime fascinates you both. So would one of you guys be on one of those kind of websites, hanging out, discussing these unsolved crimes?
I mean, I think I can make my guy work for any of the histories, being a spooky investigator. So
Yeah. So, and then a murder, a kidnapping, a haunting, an unknown, maybe all.
I think the disappearance of an entire campsite. Like an entire camping grounds of people. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, so a disappearance in some kind of Appalachian. So we're in Appalachia, so not that far from the Smokies. Something in the Smokies. I like that. Great.
Okay. Excellent. Will, got a history question you like, and probably should be something directed towards Kim.
Yes. Well, this is the one that jumped out in the second I looked at it. We're both playing sort of psychically characters, right? I figured out a supernatural or weird secret they keep. What is it?
Ooh. Kim, what? Or I suppose I should start using our character names then. Winter, what is it that Daniel knows?
Daniel has figured out that it's not that I'm hearing voices, like I'm actually legit communicating with something.
Yeah. I know that you're for real.
And where do you think y'all encountered each other? Do you think it was during that time when Winter was at college, or do you think it was somewhere else? So, Kim, where do you think you and Daniel first encountered each other?
I
think college makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I'm totally flexible.
I could. So you went away for college, though, right? People go missing everywhere. Daniel met you investigating a missing persons at your college campus, and it was one of those kind of like you hear it too sort of moments.
Is it fair to say then that you probably kind of worked together to discover the solution?
I suspect, I'm thinking more like he was interviewing someone on campus and sort of just like the weird bro nod. Like, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Maybe we interact Winter was kind of on the periphery of it, like there and read about the paper and the case and, when it was discovered and everything like that. And we interacted maybe a few times, but not like, jumping into the sewers and fighting the ghost that I had to fight to find the missing person who was possessed down there.
Excellent. I love it. So, Winter, Kim, you get the option of either one of them since we now have a connection with kind of, everyone has at least one connection. So, which question do you like? Or you could make up one. What do you think?
So, Scott, remind me, you're in Dalton regularly or semi-regularly?
Yeah, I would be an accepted outsider. So
which bar do you go to?
I think I can go to both. I mean, I picked bartenders as one of my contact zones. I'm certainly, I don't get all the stares that a stranger would have coming into the other one, but occasionally there'll be somebody who's just not okay with me there. So I will go to both. I will go to both. I more often than not frequent the one where I need somebody to talk to who has information for whatever I'm working on.
So I think that you and I have you've come to the tourist bar and hung out at the bar and we've talked in semi-coded language. And I think that, so the question, I'm thinking that I used my powers on you one time. I don't think it was selfishly.
That sounds good. I'm good.
I'm guessing someone was bugging you.
I like it. And is he aware that you did?
That was my question, yeah.
I think he is.
All right, then I go to you then, Tommy. Are you aware that Winter did?
I suspect she was involved somehow. I mean, that was a brutish guy who seemed to be after me somehow.
So a suspicion more than a confirmation.
Right.
Lovely. All right. Sounds like we've got our characters pretty well set up. Anyone have a question that they want to ask to clarify anything? If not, then I'm going to open up. I do want to ask one thing. Tommy, what brings you to Dalton this today?
So I was wrapping up a case, not that far away, since we're in Appalachia, 50 miles, and which for Will is like, continents away. But and decided to swing by since I was in the area. I was only an hour away, although Appalachian Road's probably an hour and a half.
Yeah. And getting here to Dalton, it's well off the highway, but I mean, it's got okay road.
I mean, while I'm here, it's I know enough folks. Maybe I'm gonna stay the night. So yeah, I think I arrived late in the evening.
And it's not because of what you've heard of the disappearances. It just happens to be coming in.
Mm-hmm.
Love it. All right. So I'm going to start off. Winter, it's midnight. So the bar is closing shortly, but your shift has ended. So behind you, the music's playing. There's a decent little crowd of folks coming in to do some skiing. Rowdy, kind of rude, mostly Yankees who've come down, but they tip well. So you've had a fairly profitable evening. As you come walking out of the bar, do you have a car, or do you walk home? You walk home. So it's I'll say that probably your sister doesn't live far outside of the downtown area, and there are clusters of houses around downtown. And then you get further out, and there's like the farms and the homestead type things. But your sister lives closer into town, and you're walking down the street. When you see coming out of the locals bar, you see Mama Babs Pritchett. You know her. Mama Babs was quite the beauty when she was younger. She's gotten, she's in her 40s. She's not old or anything, but she's gotten to where she wears too much makeup now. And she wears, clothes that to try and hide a little bit of extra here and to promote a little of extra there. But she's got a temper. And she's certainly showing it right now because you see that she is chasing after Marvin Rollins. That's Luke Rollins' dad. She goes, I'm telling you, your boy, I don't understand what's wrong with my daughter. She just came over trying to comfort him in his time of need. And he closed the door right in her face. You hear Marvin go, look, Babs, it's just a hard time for us right now. Luke's really upset. He don't need no visitors. Babs goes, I just find it plain rude, Marvin. Plain ass rude. And as you see this argument going on from up in the hills, you hear a howl. Not a coyote. Certainly no dog you've heard before, but you're from Dalton. That's the black dog up there howling. Now, I'll check your moves real quick here. Yeah. Would you roll your hunches move, please? So rolling with sharp, and I put up our roller room there.
I've never used Roll With Me, so
Okay.
Let's see. Is that the thing I want?
Yep. And just where it says number of D6, pop it up to 2. Oh, you rolled. Good show. So you rolled a 6. What is your sharp?
My sharp is 2.
Oh, excellent. So you got an 8. So with a 7 to 9, let's see. Here we go. All right. You keep on, I stop me if I'm wrong, but they are moving down the street. You see Marvin get into his car as Bab's still giving him the business. And you keep walking down the road. And you see one of those guys that had been in your bar down the back alley behind it. He's leaned up against the wall. Your first thought is he's probably peeing. But as you look down there, he sort of slumps, falls. And you can see a black shape, large, size of a bear almost. And as you look down the alley, it looks up at you with red eyes. What do you do?
I think I turn around and walk away.
You head on down, away from the alley, into home. Tommy, you come riding into town. There are a couple of rooms for let that are here in town. And then, of course, there's the lodges for the skiers. Where are you thinking of staying?
I'm going to get a room for let. Staying in town is always nicer than staying at a lodge with rich people.
Mm-hmm. And a lot cheaper.
Yep.
Probably a place you've stayed before.
Yeah, definitely somewhere where they'll know me, and I could roll in at 8 o'clock at night and hope that they've got space. And if they do, I'm welcome.
All right. You pull up. This house is owned by Mavis Turnbull. You know that she was the former sheriff. She was sheriff for close to 20 years. She's now in her 80s and has retired. She's originally from up north at the big city. She was a police officer in New York, not New York City, but in New York, and came down here when the old sheriff was looking for a new deputy and worked her way up to sheriff. She's tuned into most of what's going on still, and she's no nonsense lady. A lot of fun. African-American lady, solidly built. She was someone that none of the kids were going to screw with when she told them to, get off the street, or, she could handle herself. And so as you come to the door and knock, you're a little surprised when she only cracks the door a little to look out till she sees your face. And, oh, Tommy.
Mavis.
You're late.
Yes, I was just over in Trumbull. Thought I'd stop by. It's been a while. Everything okay?
Come on in. No need for you to be outside.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
She opens up the door, and it's a comfortable, well-kept place. Says, you need any coffee?
Coffee would be a delight, especially yours. Black
Come
and
on
strong.
through. And she takes you back to the kitchen. As well, we got a few folks missing in town.
Missing from in town, not from the lodges or the hikers.
Well, one from in town. Sweet young girl.
Oh, no. That's a shame. Is the sheriff looking into it, or?
Yeah, he's looking into it.
So
New
no
sheriff.
progress then.
Well, he says he thinks human trafficking. You don't know Dalton. And you know the folks around here, they're already saying some of that spooky nonsense, talking about the black dog. You ever been up here in October with the black dog howling?
Never been here for October, but I've heard some rumblings about the dog.
It's just the wind. Wind goes through up in the mountains. It cuts through the hollers. It just makes a noise. But, folks in old tales, they say it's some sort of creature. And every few years, people go missing in October, and they always blame the dog.
It's a shame. A young girl?
17. Just graduated.
Oh, start of her life.
I'm sorry, 19. Sorry, 19. 19. Just graduated.
Just reaching out into the world. That's a shame. Let me, I've just finished up work. Maybe tomorrow I can ask around, since it sounds like the sheriff's doing his normal job. Their normal job.
Well, it takes a few years to get yourself used to what Dalton's like. There's always, no story's ever straightforward in Dalton. And I don't believe in much of this nonsense, but I've seen some stuff around here that, I could write a book, Tommy. I could write a book.
I know you could. Those eyes, just looking at them, I can tell that they've seen a few lifetimes.
It's the Blaylock girl. Her name was Tammy.
Tammy?
Yeah, her mom was Myra. I'll write down the address if you want to go see them. I heard that they brought in somebody from outside of state, expert, some sort of organization. Palmer, I think his name was.
Palmer. Oh, he's good.
Oh, you've heard of him.
Might. Let me try to connect with. I've heard of him. We know each other on the internet, but good person. Daniel. He'll let me see if I can help him out, especially if he's an outsider. He's going to have some doors that are closed to him.
Folks keep to themselves. They don't like to tell tales out of school, but I'll tell you, if you could do anything to help the Blaylocks, and girl's only been gone a few days, about 6, I'd say.
Hopefully she's just run off with some boy and will come back, but let me see what I can do with
she's got a boyfriend here in town. They were mighty close. I don't see her running off with someone else. And she wasn't the only one now. There's a couple of folks from the lodges. They're also missing. One of them, though, was looking to take pictures of bears. Any damn fool thing you heard stupider.
One doesn't take pictures of bears. Not in October, not when they're fattening up.
People come into town and they're just plain stupid. I can remember dredging these rivers, hunting back through the trails. There's always some dumbass finding their way into trouble. Well, the room.
Yep, thank you much.
It's at 9, but I could keep something a little warm if you sleep in.
I'll be up.
All right. Daniel, you came into town probably a little earlier.
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe even been a day already, like
Okay.
just in the morning, or whatever. Mostly like I think checking into to whatever hotel I can find and checking in with the Home Office and whoever's law enforcement, establishing like a close-up link with law enforcement, and my prior meeting with the Blaylocks where they told me all of that stuff
Excellent.
that we went over earlier.
Just to make sure, I'm pretty sure no one had a start of session move, did they? I looked over them. I don't think we.
No, I checked that while we were.
Yeah. All right.
No one has.
So let's have you. You probably found a room at one of the lodges, which is a little expensive, but I imagine the organization's covering it. And let's have you go and visit the Blaylocks as our first little thing here. You come to a house. It's neat and nice. Probably an older house, probably built in the 30s, 40s. Would have probably been one of the company houses for the mines, but they've added on to it, so it's got a little size. It's not just a little shotgun house anymore. And Maura would have invited you in. Her husband is off at work, and she'll say, He just doesn't want to believe it's happened. He keeps going to work, and he'll come home and ask if she's called, but 6 days, Mr. Palmer. I'm starting to lose hope.
Now, don't lose hope, Mrs. Blaylock, because 6 days is a relatively short amount of time for finding a missing individual. We will find your daughter, I promise.
Sheriff says he thinks that somebody came in and might have kidnapped her, might have taken her off, some sort of terrible things.
I'm afraid outside of the National Enquirer, such things don't really happen that much to 19-year-old women in America.
I know she wouldn't have run off on her own.
Yeah, my office said that she has a boyfriend, Luke Rollins.
Yeah, Luke, he's sure tore up. He's been going through all the trails and the places that they like to visit. They would Tammy loved being out in the woods, but she never wandered off places she didn't know.
Well, maybe I'll pay Luke a visit, and I can join him on one of these trips, huh?
He's a good boy. They really, really cared about each other. At first, I didn't think it was a good idea because, she has such potential. She could get out of this town and make something of herself. And, well, Luke's a fine boy, but, let's be honest. He's going to go play football at some little school, and I don't even know if he'll graduate, and he'll come back and lumber just like his dad always has and his granddad before him.
Well, maybe so, but the only thing we need to focus on right now is finding your daughter. Now, would it be all right if I took a look around her room?
Certainly, yeah, anything you want. Why don't we have you roll investigate a mystery, unless you have something of your own you think you might like to do.
I was going to go with investigate mystery, or I was going to use my sensitive move.
Oh, all right.
Is that working? Nope. Okay, that's odd.
What's the matter?
Oh, no. Nope. Sorry, I just misread it entirely. Because the middle of my screen didn't change from when I clicked on it, but I think it just worked a lot quicker than I realized, and I got the same result twice. So it confused the hell out of me. That's a 12 on sensitive,
nice.
Which means I gain a definite impression, vision, definite aura, overheard for, etc. about something important. which is as I think I go around Tammy's room, and I ask for like if she'd mind if I was alone. It just helps me concentrate. I take her up on her offer of coffee.
Okay.
So,
and you could hear her in the distance puttering around the kitchen, and kind of softly, now that she's not having to keep a front up, you can kind of hear her weeping. But you block that away, opening yourself up into the room. And how does this usually manifest? Is it like visions, or do you hear, or is it just an impression? How does it manifest?
I think at its most extreme, it's like I'm watching something happen. Otherwise, it's like something calls out to me in the room, like it's just like, this is the thing, it's like sort of serendipity, kind of like just the thing that you happen to look at appears to be the right thing, but it can vary depending on how intense the supernatural experience is,
All right. As you're looking around the room, you see a picture. It shows Tammy, who you've gotten pictures of before. You have, matter of fact, several to carry around with you. She's a pretty young lady, dark hair, and young, looks. She has that kind of smart, put together sort of look, and she's got a smile on her face. And beside her is a tall African American young man. He is handsome and built. I mean, he, muscles, and he's got this big kind of goofy grin. He's got his arm around her shoulder. And beside them, kind of looking at the two of them and smiling like they were caught in some joke, is another girl. She's also cute. She's small, real petite girl, blonde hair. But as you look at the picture, you could see that behind that smile, there's jealousy. And then this vision just hits you. You're in the room, and you see Tammy and this girl. The girl's like, Tammy, you're going off to college, and why don't you just break up with him? You know that, I mean, let's be honest, you're going to go and you're going to find you some smart guy up at college, and you're not going to want to be stuck with Luke. Tammy goes, well, sissy, Luke's a good person, and we make each other happy. And I mean, people say long distance relationships don't work, but we're different. And Sissy's like, well, my mama says that long distance relationships never work. Somebody ends up cheating. And I'll tell you, Luke's a nice looking boy. Somebody's going to snatch him up. And, well, wouldn't it be better if you just saved yourself a broken heart later by cutting him free, being free yourself? Tammy goes, oh, sissy, it's going to be fine, honey. It's going to be fine.
Cool. I like as I come back into the present, and I think that she comes up the stairs, with a little tray and 2 coffee mugs, and and I just put the photo down and I say, this is the boyfriend here.
Yeah, that's Luke.
Well, looks like a real good group of kids. Who's the girl in the back?
Oh, that's Sissy Pritchett. She and Tammy are best friends. They've been best friends all the way since kindergarten. Which, I'll be honest with you, her mama Babs and we don't see eye to eye most of the time, but she and Sissy were inseparable.
Yeah. Well, where do you think? Could you give me Sissy's address? I'd like to have a few words with her.
Well, sure, but I'm gonna tell you, Babs is a hard one to deal with. Babs works at Piggly Wiggly as a cashier. you might want to try seeing Sissy during the day while she's at work.
Don't worry, ma'am. People who are good at finding people are also good at avoiding them.
Well, I know Sissy's just tore up about it too. She's been, from what I hear, just worrying herself frantic, making sure that Luke's okay. And she's come by and brought soup for me and Dan. No, I won't go with Danny. I'll change his name for her husband, Bob.
Bob.
Me and Bob, and she ain't much of a cook, but it's made with love.
Well, I'm sure she's, well, you know, it's just to find out a bit more about Tammy and the town, and I just need to build up a picture, you understand? But I will take your words on advice. And I would like to say that as we're, like, you know, leaving the scene, like, say, you know, I'm like, you know, I once knew someone from Dalton. Do you know Winter Peterson? She was out in wherever you went to college last time I saw her. But
I want to ask, Winter, do people consider you strange, or does that kind of oddness about you, is that something people talk about, or do you keep that pretty close in?
I think people talk about it. Like, I'm strange, but I'm their kind of strange.
Gotcha. She goes, oh, Winter, yeah, she's a good Dalton girl. She works over at the bar.
Which bar? I think I passed two on the way into town.
Oh, well, she's at the Stag, and we'll call it the Stag and Briar.
Is that the local bar?
No, that's where tourists come in and drink. I imagine the money's better there.
Well, I suppose that's why well, maybe I'll bump into it then if it's the tourist bar. When he laughs at himself for being a tourist, you know. And,
If there's anything we could do, anything more you need, and
I like just put a hand on her shoulder and I say, like, if I think of anything, any way that you or your husband can help, I won't hesitate. But trust me, I will find your daughter.
Mr. Palmer, there's folks that say it was the dog.
And given that I have in my gear a historical documents and witness reports of strange events, I think I came prepared with research of this kind of thing.
Okay.
And I smile and I say, people look for all kinds of fantastic explanations for what happens in life. I'm just here to find the truth, man.
And we cut off that scene. I'm going to hit one more time with you, Winter, and then we're going to take our break. And we'll come back after that. But Winter, let me look at your character sheet here just a moment. Yeah. You've turned in for the night. You know, it was a busy bar, so you're probably tired. You're not sure what time it is, but it's definitely deep into the morning, or deep into the black of morning. So 2, 3, 4 in the morning. Down here in Dalton, which is in a hollow, it gets mighty dark at night. And the sun in October and winter, it comes up late. So it's pitch black. When you kind of come to yourself realizing there's someone in your room, you look over the corner and you see a woman. She's wearing old-fashioned clothes, long skirt, and a kind of buttoned up, tight bodice type top. She's maybe not pretty as much as handsome. She has a strong look on her face. You've never seen her before, and she's just standing there, staring at you. What do you do?
I think I'm pretty groggy. Like, not so groggy that I don't know that the person isn't really there, but just kind of like, yes.
She kind of moves closer to you, but you don't see her take a step. It's like she was there, now she's closer. They're making her do bad things. That woman is making her do bad things. She wouldn't do this herself.
She who?
They call her a dog, but she's no dog. I love her. She's my Mavis. I took her from that man, and I'm not ever giving her back. And you see on her face this determination. That woman's making her do bad things.
Question. So I'm looking at my moves, and one of them is I can attune my mind to a monster or a minion.
Okay.
That is explicitly bad things, or does random ghost ladies in my room count?
She would certainly count. I will say for the meta discussion, she is a minion. You certainly can attune to her. Or you could, because of what she's saying to you, try to, in our case, the monster is the black dog. She's called her, oh shit, I just gave her name. Martha, wasn't it?
Mavis?
No, it wasn't Mavis. Mavis is our... Myra, that was it. There we go. It was Myra. So you could try to attune to that. Which would you prefer?
Attune to that.
All right. Let's roll weird.
Let's. It's 9. Or 7 plus 2.
Excellent. All right. You're going to get to hold 1. And you see the questions down there. Would you like to ask one of those questions now?
Yes. Who does it regard as the biggest threat?
Ooh, that's a good one. You're looking at this figure, and you have enough experience to know you're seeing a shade of someone who's passed. And as you look up into her face, you kind of sink into her eyes. And it's like you're traveling across the forest, heading up into the hills. For a moment, you connect with this mind. And it's angry. It's scared. And it's filled with guilt. And for a moment, you see a locket in your mind. a little curio locket. And it's around the neck of someone. You can't quite see the face, but it's sitting on an ample bosom, let's say. And you recognize the shirt that it's on because you just saw it earlier tonight. Babs Pritchett. And then that flash moves away, and you see a man dressed in overalls, older clothes, an angry man. And in your heart, you know he's long since dead. But you see this angry man, and then the vision fades. And as you pull back, for one moment, that woman standing there looking at you, help us. And then she's gone. And we're going to take our first break there. So it is half after the hour. Let's take 10 minutes. And we'll come back at 20 till. I saw, like I say, I'm bad about looking at the chat while I'm running, but I saw we were talking about Old Gods of Appalachia. And Dalton is a direct take from listening to Old Gods. This is my second run in Dalton. I'm doing a whole series that takes place at various time points in Dalton. And it's entirely because of having listened to Old Gods. It really inspired me. I live in the upstate of South Carolina, so I'm on the foothills of the Appalachians. But that entire area and stories there just fascinate me. And I think Old Gods is just a brilliant podcast. Folks at home, if you want to hear some good horror podcasting, Old Gods of Appalachia, excellent. So we're going to pop back in. And now what I want to do is I want to get us back into kind of sync time-wise. So I'm going to pop to you just a second, Will, and then I'm going to come back to you, Scott, if that's okay. Just to get Will, to get you into our same time scale. So
yeah, could I? You go for it, Tyler. Sorry, I'm too used to running Monster of the Week now. Sorry.
So it sounded like you were going to go over to the Pritchett house, and see if you could see Sissy. Was that your plan?
Yeah. If you want to get back on the same time, Scott, I'm happy with like it being too late and for whenever, you know what I mean? Like I'm happy for any realm of fortuitous circumstance that brings the three of us together, you know?
Okay. I think that you drove by the Pritchett house. You'd been given the address, and you drove by, no cars in the driveway. You'd stopped, and I just want to do kind of a micro scene as you get out and you look. One of the neighbors, an old man, sitting on his porch, kind of rocking. And when he sees you get out and looking over there, he'll walk down to his gate and, hey, buddy.
Yes, sir. Do you know the Pritchetts over there?
Oh, yeah, I know Babs and Sissy, and you got business with them?
I'm a friend of Mrs. Blaylock. I was hoping to find Sissy.
Sad what happened with that girl. I hope they find her.
Well, that's my hope too, sir. And you can tell me where I could find Sissy. That might be a step in the right direction.
I'm not real sure. I saw her getting in her car. She had a Tupperware full of something. I'm not sure where she was going. She'd probably be back around later. I'll tell you, old Babs, she don't like having guests come up.
Well,
at least not ones she don't meet in the bar.
Well, maybe I'll meet her later then. But I'll be honest, I'm really more interested in talking to Sissy than her mother. If you could pass her, and he hands out a card. If you do see Sissy, if you could give her my card, and it's the Despair organization, simple letter front, and you could Google the name to find out what it is, but otherwise it just says my contact number and the thing. And I just lean over and I say, maybe Babs doesn't need to find out anything that might upset her from the sounds of things.
I understand. I'll pass it along. Sissy's a sweet girl.
So I hear. Well, thank you very much, sir. I'll pay a visit back later on, but I'll see if I got other work to do right now. So.
All right, yeah. Okay. And he'll lean in close to you just as you're heading off. He says, kind of surprised how sweet Sissy is considering her mama and what happened with her daddy.
Well, it's true what they say about these old small towns, ain't it? Well, I guess I'm not in so much of a rush. You smoke?
Well, I won't turn one down.
Well, this is the good stuff. Pure nicotine. None of that vape stuff. I can't stand it.
He'll take the cigarette, he says, and lights it up.
Yeah, and I'm just going to shoot the shit with this guy to find out the whole story, you know?
You know, when Sissy was just a baby, rumor was that her daddy was messing around with some other lady besides Babs. Babs found out. You know, Ralph Pritchett knew these hills about as well as anybody ever did. Ain't no way that he would have fallen off the cliff like that.
Wow. Yeah. So, when Sissy was a baby, her daddy fell down and died. And you think, well, maybe a woman scorned. I guess you would never crop. I wouldn't want to crop from the sounds of her. She seems fearsome, but I'm not quite seeing how this matches up with Sissy's concerns.
I'm just saying that she's a sweet girl despite it all.
Oh, I'm so sorry, sir. I misunderstood.
You know, and that's sort of what happened. Back here in the hills, families are close, and, you know, Babs is a Pritchett twice removed. Cousins marrying. Now, not real close, but it ain't never a good idea mixing family.
Well, I'd agree with that one, sir. But sounds like it ain't done Sissy no harm. So,
I do hope you find that Blaylock girl.
I will.
I'll pass this on to Sissy.
Yeah, he smiles and walks away.
All right.
I'm gonna I'm heading to wherever is convenient. Sans any direction, probably the bar at this point.
Okay, and we're gonna have us get to. This is probably fairly late by the time you have done all this. You'll go to the bar. You're going to the touristy bar. And I think for our purposes, you know, we said that you started off early, but I think we're going to discover, due to our time dilation, that you started off early the day after we saw The Night with Tommy and Kim. Or Tommy and Winter.
That sounds good to me, yeah.
So, Tommy, you wake up at the boarding house. What are you going to be doing?
After getting one of the finest breakfasts in 4 counties, I think I'm going to, it's morning. All right, I'm going to head to, well, let's see if I get a message from my secret masters first. So I'm going to head to the gas station that has, you know, the stand of magazines. I use the classic game Illuminati to help me pick the secret masters, and I got tabloids. So it was hilarious that Will referenced the National Enquirer. And I'm going to buy the copy of the National Enquirer and see if there's a message for me that triggers anything before I start talking to people in town.
All righty. Looks like you'll be rolling weird.
And that'll be and I'm a -1, but you know, who knows? Let's go ahead and does it do minuses? It does minuses.
I think so. I'll be honest. I always just roll and then add my thing.
Oh, I got a 10.
Oh, very good.
How about that? 10. Surprising. On a 10 or more, the secret masters reveal a key fact, clue, or technique that will help.
All right. So
I'm looking up, articles on missing people.
you find,
And what do I find?
yeah, you find looking through this, and you're kind of, you were picking up a current National Enquirer, or are you somewhere like the library looking over stuff?
Yeah, it's always the current ones. I mean, they're in touch with the pulse of the world.
Okay.
And they seem to know when I'll be out and about, you know, and they place the articles for me to read.
Then you see there's an article in there, and the writer of it, the one with the byline, is a name you recognize. It is one of those kind of nom de plumes, but you can tell this is one of the organization who has written in this article. And it's talking about a series of disappearances, and it doesn't name the town, but it's a mountain town in Kentucky. But talks about that in, check here, yes, in 2003, there were a series of mysterious deaths in a small town. It's been attributed to perhaps a creature living in those hills. It mentions that a woman, Lucy Stiles, was found that she had been mauled by some sort of animal, but no one could tell what sort of animal it was. That there were thoughts that it was some sort of prehistoric canine, perhaps a dire wolf that still lurks back in these hills. It also mentions a man, did I give his Bob? No. Bob's the name of the Blaylock husband.
Why don't we make the Blaylock husband Robert? Because I feel like he's not going to come up.
There we go. So Robert. But did I told you the husband's name, Will, didn't I? Pritchett.
Yes, that was Ralph Pritchett.
Okay, good. I am on my notes then. And you also see in this article Ralph Pritchett, who had fallen down that same year down a cliff, but that people are that this article talks about strange tracks that are around the cliff top, again, of this massive dire wolf. And there are a couple of eyewitnesses who talk about seeing a large black wolf-like creature creeping around through the woods. And it's hugely sensationalized sort of writing, but that the main thrust of it is there is some creature that science does not understand in these back hills. And the reason this is being run here in this most new Enquirer is the reporter says, we investigated and have found reports of this sort of creature popping up in the area multiple times over the years. And it mentions another Pritchett man who was killed. They don't give his first name. A Mr. Pritchett killed in the late 1800s, said to have been struck down by this massive wolf. Goes on to talk about people who have witnessed it throughout the centuries. And then its final bit is, and reports say even now this red-eyed canine stalks the woods of Kentucky.
All right, that points me to, I think I'm going to head to, so we have the newspaper, so I'm going to head to the library.
All right. And it is an older building, one of the oldest buildings here in downtown, and it is library, historical society, and the newspaper all kind of in one building. And they have, for the Historical Society and Library, they have tchotchkes you could buy, little things there. And as you arrive, there's a couple of kids you see in the back sitting around at one of the tables reading. And as you come in at the front desk, you see a man, middle-aged, classic bookish man, thin, has thick glasses on, and he looks up and says, hi there. Tommy Dillinger, right?
Yeah, it's good to see you. I think we were introduced once, at happy hour, and it was a long time ago. But it's good to see you, as always.
And you know him as Jerry Miller.
And you're Mr. Miller, if I recall. I'm not good with names, but sometimes I strike gold, as the saying goes.
The heir of Dalton must be agreeing with you. You keep coming back.
It's actually a lovely town. It's much nicer than the big city.
That's what I always
work
say.
there, but the place is it crushes you. It crushes you.
Not here. Fresh air, the hills around you. We live in God's country here in Dalton.
Indeed, I have to agree. I got a quick question for you. I'm looking up the Pritchards.
One of the oldest families here around Dalton.
Any records on the family? Seems like.
Oh yeah, certainly. He stands up. If you'll come with me, and he kind of leads you to the back and up a set of stairs towards where the Historical Society is. I'm president of the society, and I've kept records. Well, and my predecessor, she kept a heck of a records too, all about Dalton. And it's very interesting stuff. Dalton's an old town.
It does seem to be.
He moves through the stacks. Well, what in particular are you looking for?
Well, birth records, marriage records, baptism records. From pre-war or so. Just trying to track. The family. I've heard lots of stories about them, and of course, Mr. Pritchard went missing. What a score of years ago or so.
You're talking about old Ralph.
Yeah, fell off the mountain.
Yeah, strange thing. He was somebody that should have known better. But here. He'll go back, and you see him pull out kind of a dusty older ledger. He says, this, and he pulls out a series. Says, this is pretty much our birth and death records for most of Dalton. The church kept the early ones, and then here at the town, we keep them for the stuff after the 50s.
Great, and then I would want to research to see if more of this clan has disappeared, as it were.
And he'll leave you to the books unless you ask him to do anything. And so, if not, why don't we investigate a mystery?
Sure. Plus sharp. I believe I'm +2. Yep. Let's change that roll to +2. Oh, a 12. Oh my God. This is what it was in Free from the Yoke. It was either great or horrible.
All right. So what question? You're going to get 2. What
get
question
2.
do you first want to ask here?
I think what I'm looking for is maybe some kind of pattern. So what is being concealed here? What do I deduce about this family?
Okay. As you start looking through, and these things, those older records date all the way back to the kind of early 1700s. And you can see the Pritchett family has been around throughout it all. They moved into this area in the late 1600s, probably coming up from like the Carolinas or Virginia, and moving across. And you can see there's records of the births and deaths, and it also shows you like they had where they picked their lands. You can see different things like that. And then interspersed as you go further, especially as you start getting into the 1800s, you'll see where there's newspaper clippings that have been put in at various times. First one that catches your eye. You see that in 1883, there was a Pritchard, Polly, and Stephen, who were married. And you could see that in a newspaper clipping there is written of the unfortunate murder of Stephen and Polly Pritchett. That up on a hill, and kind of cross-referencing where you've got like these land layouts, it's up close to where the Cash Money Shaft is. One of the mines. Seems as though someone took a pickaxe to Stephen and Polly. Now, reading through this a little more, you can see that there is another person who goes missing at the same time. Myra Collins. Now, in this article, of course, it's written in the vernacular of the day. They talk about this couple kind of obliquely, and it's only because you've dealt with these sort of records before that the words troubled relationship comes up. They mention the close friendship of Myra Collins and Polly Pritchett, and the tragic circumstances surrounding this. And you kind of deduce that at least the rumor being glossed over is maybe Stephen is the one who killed Polly. But we're not sure who killed Stephen. Mentioned, though, is the record of, the kids, the family. And you can see, kind of to finish out the answer here, there's a direct line from Stephen and Polly going all the way down to, Babs and Sissy.
And then
your second question.
I think what I'm looking for is, what kind of following up on the dog story that I heard the night before. And then the descriptions of some of these murders, disappearances, deaths is, what kind of creature, could do these things. Do these kind of injuries that aren't always easily identifiable, easy to get confused with other, like pickaxes and like.
Right. It is some sort of large animal that variously they'll suggest a wolf or a bear, but it's always of enormous size. Now, these mountains have black bears. They don't have grizzlies.
Right.
So a black bear is not an enormous bear. Now, it'll kill you, but it's not a huge bear. These wounds, these attacks speak of something quite large. And again, there's various reports as you look through that imply some sort of massive canine. But it also talks about how it will just disappear into the darkness. Over the years, people have gone out trying to hunt it, and they'll see it, and then it'll just be gone. And it's always reported around that Cash Money Shaft Mountain, even before there was the shaft. I'll take that back. The mine was actually there and active back when the first sighting is, which is in that 1880s is when it starts.
Okay. All right. That's good stuff. All right. And then I think, I'm going to email Will on my phone and see if, he's checking his email.
Okay. Winter, you got up today after that kind of disturbing visage last night. What are you doing?
I think I recognize the names that my apparition said, and am probably going to go try to figure out who they are. I'm not sure if it makes more sense to go ask someone or to go to the Historical Society.
Well,
Kitty.
Both have options. You have a few folks around that you could go speak to. Of course, at the Historical Society, you're well aware they would have all sorts of records about stuff. So which do you think would work out best to start?
I think that if I go to Granny, she'll just say, "Do your homework, kid."
All right,
so I'm going to go to the
that's
Historical
perfect.
Society.
So you head in, and as you come in, you see Jerry coming from the back down the stairway, and he looks, "Oh, Winter, hi, nice to see you." And he's kind of cutting a little smile and maybe even a little blush, because he young ladies don't usually come and visit here, and so he's how can I help you?
I'm looking for, and I can't find where I wrote down the names for last night.
Myra was the who the visage said she loved her, my Myra. And I'm not sure I've said the name of the visage, but I'm going to go ahead, and I think you made that connection enough that it was Polly.
Can I just double check with you quickly, Tyler?
Yeah.
Myra is definitely a different person than Moira. Is that right? Like Myra Blaylock? Myra Blaylock? What was Mrs. Blaylock's first name?
Let's see here. You've got Bab. I'm sorry. That's Blaylock. Yeah. Myra.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's not the same name. I'm not. When the visage says Myra, right? Is that the same first name as Mrs. Blaylock?
No, she's Mora. I'm sorry. Those are very close.
No. I understood the difference, but I wanted to make sure there was a difference, and I wasn't just.
There is a difference.
Yeah.
Myra is our person from way back. Mora is Mrs. Blaylock.
Cool, thank you. So I just was like, if it was the same person, I was like, oh my god.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I made that a little close. Sorry. But I think with that connection, you knew the visage you saw was Polly.
So I am
Okay.
going to butter Jerry up a little bit. Something along the lines of, I overheard someone the other day talking about a Polly, I think it was, and I know that you know everything about everyone who's ever lived here. Do you remember any Pollys? Maybe that was a nickname?
Any time in particular, or someone who lives here now?
Oh no, this would definitely be someone like late 18s.
Oh, well,
hundreds. I'm not.
What a weird coincidence. I've got somebody upstairs right now who's looking into the Pritchetts, and well, one of the most famous of the Pritchetts was Polly Pritchett.
Of course, you're the best.
Tragic story. A lot of rumors and myths around that story. Said to be a love story. I love a love story, and a jilted lover, an angry husband, double murder. Oh, all the stuff that you write about. Oh, I've been piddling about. It's gonna be wonderful. I need an editor. I'm up to 2,600 pages so far.
Sounds lovely. Who did you say you had upstairs?
Maybe you know him, Tommy Dillinger. Comes into town every once in a while.
Oh, right. I don't remember, I ran him into the bar, I think. Do you mind if I go upstairs and say hi?
2 visitors to the society in one day. That's going in the book. And so you head up.
Sounds like a plan, Jerry.
I think you see Tommy there looking over the old stacks of books.
Hey, Winter. What brings you here?
Hi, Tommy.
What brings you here?
What do you think?
A good mystery, maybe?
A good mystery. Yes, let's call it that.
Well, let me share you what I've found out here about the Pritchetts. And I will share all the information that I've just gathered with her, discussing, how many there's been, how long they go back, the apparent large canine nature of many of these disappearances, in the ways that maybe, and I'll finish it by saying maybe the dog stories aren't so fantastic as they seem.
Oh, for fuck's sake. I thought I heard something last night.
You heard something?
Yes.
That's chilling.
Noises in the hills. It's always noises in the hills.
And you don't think it was the wind?
Never heard the wind make that noise before.
Something's going on then. It might be good if we stick together on this.
Can't hurt. I'm not especially interested in seeing it up close and personal myself.
I don't think I'm interested in seeing it, but I mean, it keeps happening. which means it's going to happen again. It's happening now. No telling how long it's going to go on for, and then it'll come back.
Have you gotten any ideas about the space of time between someone going missing and someone showing up dead?
Did I just find a pattern there? Because it was like 1883. I think we had a missing. This is 20. I'm assuming we're 2020.
Yeah,
and then it was
current time
2003 for the husband.
That's when Ralph Pritchett went. Yeah.
So is that an even
in a
17
lot of
all the time?
cases? Yeah, in a lot of cases, it is that they're immediately found, or very quickly found. Then there's some that they discover, out in the woods sometime later. And there's some that they just never find. But because you're asking this little question, I'm going to give a little tidbit of information. The ones that are never found, they're always young women.
Wow.
I used to babysit Tammy. I mean, watch over her. Not sure it was anything quite so fancy as babysitting, but we should probably look into this. What's your angle? Why are you here?
I just came into town, to be honest. I heard there was some outsider looking into the missing girl. Outsider's a good person, though. So I've sent him an email. His name is Daniel. I know him online.
That is a good moment for Daniel. You've had spotty service from your phone, but as you've driven back into the downtown area, that's where they have a tower. And so you get a ping from your phone where an email has come in.
I pull over in front of this building, and I pick, like in the middle of town. It's kind of like an old building, like an archive, like a historical society, maybe. And I'm like, I stop the car, open the email, and I think I look up and see Tommy through the window. It's funny how these things work out, isn't it?
It's odd. So you head in?
Yeah, maybe it'd be better. I'd prefer to have the scene outside.
Okay.
Like, I feel like, like just kind of with the hills around us and things, rather than inside of it. Stuff, in the dusk, maybe so we can hear a howl that comes out menacingly at the atmospheric point.
Okay, so you send a message, I'm here?
I ring him on his number, and I just say, like, "Hi, Tommy, you're in Dalton."
Yep, I'm at the library.
Oh, look out the window.
Well, speak of the devil.
And I see Winter there, and I go, "Is that Winter with you? Winter?" I've flipped on the last name, but I say it. Peterson, that's it. I knew it was a son, and I was like, "No, I've just got Stockton looking at me right now." Yeah, is that Winter Peterson with you?
Yeah, she's. Why don't you come up here?
Why don't you come down? We can go talk about things privately.
Fair enough. Hey, Winter. Daniel's outside. Funny how these things work. And
I'm shocked.
I think he wants to compare notes, if you don't mind.
More the merrier.
All right,
Shall we?
We'll have that kind of wipe that takes us straight to are we wanting to meet there outside, or do we think we've like gone to the seating at the cafe outside and you're sitting down, or are you at the bar on the deck looking back with the things, or what do you think?
I think like this is a crisp night, October night kind of thing. We're wearing layers.
It's afternoon, yeah. So it gets dark early.
Yeah, and we're outside so Daniel can smoke.
Excellent.
We're sat on like a porch type thing, like
Okay.
outside seating and stuff. So I'm like, well, 3 missing people in 3 weeks. That happen often around here, Winter?
I suspect that there's going to be a mysterious death found in the not-so-distant future. I'm an out-of-towner. It certainly
Maybe
hasn't
right.
happened in my lifetime, but it happens.
There's more than a fair share of it happening here.
Yeah. So my research indicates we went up to the Blaylock house earlier. I was looking for Sissy Pritchett. You know her, Winter?
I know of her. Mean little girl, I think. I haven't seen her in years.
Yeah. Well, we got 3 missing people. Everyone in this town thinks it was some kind of spook or hate. Maybe they're right. But I don't know. Something tells me the Pritchett girl, something hidden there. I got a weird feeling about it. I was thinking maybe we'd speak to the boyfriend and maybe see if we could find out where Mr. Lotz and Mr. Stockton were last seen. You hear anything about this black dog? Anyone?
There's all kind of things in the hills. Wouldn't be surprised if one of them was a black dog.
I think it might pay to check out this mine. I don't think at night. Not if you heard those noises at night, Winter.
I hear that if young Luke is heading out there every day looking for his missing paramour, maybe we should go along and see if we can check out this mine while we're on our day trip.
As you are sitting there, you see the sheriff's car go by, the lights on, and you could see that following behind it with also its lights on is an ambulance coming into town from, honestly, the direction of where the cave is, where the shaft is. Mm-hmm. And everything is in tight. You see as it pulls up next to the sheriff's station that the doors open to the ambulance. The sheriff comes out, and you see them pull out a body bag. And he moves around, and they head down to the cellar. Winter, and probably you too, Tommy, know that that's basically the makeshift morgue for here until it gets transported to a higher up, to somewhere further away to be looked into.
Well, I'm guessing maybe we've only got 2 missing people now. Tommy, you know the local law enforcement around here, don't you?
I know him. He's about as good as you suspect. let's just say his predecessor casts a very long shadow, and he hasn't lived up to that yet. But
Well,
it doesn't mean he's a complete mess. You want to talk to him?
well, my employers do like me to make contact with the locals. And
We just need to follow that car.
yeah.
It's just across the way, not far. You could see where he's pulled up, and he's helping, he's directing them to take the body down into the cellar.
Mhm.
Do the three of you want to go ambling over?
Yes, and Winter is helping me with my inquiries, and Tommy is on a retainer as a local assistance in the organization. Just to establish our bona fides for why the hell we're talking to.
All right. You head over there, and the sheriff, kind of looks away. He looks over and, Winter. Hi there. Tommy Dillinger. He kind of gives you a look, Daniel, and decides, I think, to go with the local. Winter, who's your friend?
This is Daniel.
Nice to meet you, Daniel. Sheriff Cosgrove.
Sheriff Cosgrove, yes. My name is Daniel Palmer. I'm here from the Desbarrow organization. We're offering our services to Mrs. Blaylock to help find your missing people. I was just on my way over here to, introduce myself and make the formalities when I'm guessing there's not good news.
Well, it doesn't exactly find anybody we're missing, but last night somebody was attacked by some sort of animal. Friends reported he was missing. He's a tourist in here skiing. Said he was over at the stag. He went out back to take a leak, and he never came back in. I started looking for him, and we found him just outside of town. Been chewed up pretty good.
Bear attack?
Almost certainly has to be. They'll come in and get in the dumpsters every once in a while. It's too big to have been a coyote, and way too big to have been a bobcat. Probably a bear. He probably took a leak somewhere he shouldn't, scared the bear. Bear grabbed a hold of him, and it's rare for him to haul him out, but this is a season they'll eat about anything right now. He must have just decided to drag him off.
Sheriff, it'd be remiss of me not to offer. I have some experience in forensic pathology. If it would be of use to you, I offer my services for.
That sounds like you're trying to manipulate someone. It's not usual for them to let some guy who just shakes his hand look at the body. But we can have some manipulate someone, unless you have a move that'll help otherwise. And someone can help out if they want. I like to just wait till we roll, because there's no need for 2 rolls if we don't need it.
Yeah, well, I got an 8, so I can't be helped out to a 10. So
right. He's like, he kind of looks over at you, Winter, and this is really unusual. Winter, you sure this guy's on the up and up?
Yes, Sheriff. As much as any out-of-towner is.
Well,
I met him in the past. He's good people.
And I reel off the details of that case,
and Tommy, you've been a help here. Look, we're going to keep this kind of on the down low, but don't mess with anything, but I could use a little advice before he gets sent off to the corner of county.
Don't worry, Sheriff. I'm just going to take a look and make sure that we know what we're dealing with here.
All right. He leads you down the stairs and into, it's a small room, and it has a like walk-in cooler, basically. This is not high tech. And you could see that the paramedics have put the body bag onto a like a dolly, a cart for it. And as they're heading out, the sheriff says, if you'll make sure to leave the paperwork upstairs, deputy will take all that in for you. And when they leave, he says, now, like I say, let's not go spreading around that I'm showing you this, but the locals get a little spooked. And with folks missing, and they have all these superstitions. No offense, Winter, but there's all these superstitions that come around in a town like this. And if I could say for sure what it was that attacked this guy, then it would be a big help. So he reaches over and pulls the bag back. This guy has been rather badly mauled. And Winter, you definitely recognize him. He is the guy you saw in that alley. And now that you're seeing his face, you can remember him from earlier in the night. He'd gotten a few drinks from you. He tipped all right. He was, he was handsome. Not so pretty now, but he was handsome. And now that you remember, earlier in the night when he first gotten there, as he was coming in, you saw Babs come up to talk with him. Looked like she was wanting him to buy her a drink. Not unusual for Babs. She'll come into the Stag and try and, be a barfly and get a few drinks off the tourists. And apparently he shot her down pretty quick. You just remember a bit of a it just pops into your memory. But you remember as he walks off, she flips him off and stalked out of the bar.
Anyone who turns down Babs is good in my book.
So, anybody, we have this guy here. Is there a move that someone wants to do from their personals? Or would we like it to be an investigate? What are we thinking?
Well, so I'm not really intending to do like an autopsy or whatever like that,
Right.
We could just do a straight investigate mystery on this stuff. Or I noticed that one of us has the sight and can talk to ghosts. And my most, my real thing was to get us here so we could do some weird shit while, because magic lets you shortcut through mysteries,
That's very true.
So if Winter would like to do a psychic, or I might try my past lives to the same effect.
All right. Winter, what do you think? Are you going to try and see if there's something here, or do you decline to do that?
So I was thinking that I'd go with my gut and the trust my gut move, because
Nice. All right. Well, then let's have you roll that as our start point here.
4 all the way up to a 6.
Spend luck. So in Monster of the Week, she's never played Monster of the Week. In Monster of the Week,
sorry.
Luck stat, and you can use it to either avoid all damage, or you can use it to get a 12.
And we start with 3 luck points. And so spending 1 luck will, let you automatically have a 12, or it will completely negate damage from one source. If you ever run out of luck, you are doomed, and your death will be imminent. So would you like to use your luck, or you want to take the hard move and see what happens?
I don't know. Narratively, I always kind of like the hard, like the fails better. But no, you know what? I'll spend my luck.
There you go. Alrighty. So, and there is a spot up there where I have your luck in. So drop that down to 2, and you get a 12 on that. So, with trust your gut on a tip, I'll tell you where you should go. Wherever that is, it will be important. You get +1 on going when you follow that lead. So remember, you'll have a +1 on going for that. You look at this guy, and it's not easy to look at. I imagine, Winter may have a very strong stomach, but this guy has been mauled rather badly. And so looking him over it's difficult. And perhaps because of that, you kind of turn away for a moment. And as you turn, it's like the room wipes away. You're looking somewhere else. You see Sissy standing on the porch of the Rollinses. And you see Luke at the door say, I'm sorry, I'm just not wanting to see anybody right now, Sissy. As Marvin comes up behind him and goes, look, Sissy, I've already told you, we just want to be left alone. Luke's going through some things, and it's awful nice of you to bring stuff at all, but please, just give us a little time. And as Sissy walks off and gets into her little, she's got like a Datsun 210. It's an old Datsun 210. She gets into it, and as she cranks it up and starts to drive away, you can see down the street another car that you recognize. It's Bab's old Lincoln. And just kind of in a flash, you move down towards it as you see her sitting in there, and she's got this look of anger on her face. And she's rubbing something between her fingers. You can't hear it, but she's whispering or speaking to it. And as the image fades, as the room comes back in, for just that flashing moment, you can see a camisole locket that she's rubbing, and she kisses it. And then you're back in the room.
I have good news and bad news, guys. Bad news, no idea what's happened to this dude. Good news, possibly know what happened to him. Saw him at the bar. You know how I said Sissy was mean little girl? I think that's an angle we should investigate.
Can we say that the sheriff was just like on the other side of the room?
Totally.
Yes.
Like the sheriff has a weak stomach or something. And
right. When he opened it up, and he kind of walked to the door and was telling the folks, the ambulance guys, as they were coming out, y'all head on in. We got your statements. Had given y'all just a second.
Yeah. So we relay all of that, and then I guess we know about the Polly and Stephen in the 1880s, which seems to be the time that all this started up, right around that site as well. So we need to check. What are we feeling? Do we need to check out that site? Do you think, is that our priority, or should we try and find more out from this body?
Does anybody have something they want to do while they're here with the body?
Or we can just go find a Pritchett or go on our trip out to the woods.
And I don't have anything for the body. It's either follow up on Sissy's whereabouts or go to the place, to the mine shaft.
And your vision, Winter. I mean, you see. I mean, that's Babs sitting outside of Marvin Rollins and Luke Rollins' house. Was where you saw her.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a starting point there for tracking her.
The Pritchetts, the woods, or. Yeah, so I will. Daniel will, nod, and he will lean over and he will write down like a few notes on his pad. He'll hand it over to the sheriff, and he'll just say, "I've never seen anything like that before. Just be honest. I don't know what this is, Sheriff, but you have my word. I will never. I won't tell anybody else anything. The only thing, if I find out anything, you'll be the first to know."
Well, I'm sure the coroner's just going to come back with it being a bear, and maybe folks will realize they need to put locks on these dumpsters. I've been telling everybody, Winter, why don't you tell that manager you've got over there at the Stag, lock their dumpsters. It just brings these bears into town. And
I'll drop some hints about dead tours. He will lock that shit down.
There you go. See, it's just good business. Nobody wants a dead customer. Nobody drinks when they're dead. Yep. And y'all head back up out of here as the sheriff behind you. You hear the walk-in door open and as he pushes the cart inside. So, where do we want to go? I think just to give us to clarify we have now. It is now pitch dark or dark. It's 6:30. It is dark out. We have Pritchett's galore. We have the mine itself, but I don't know if y'all want to. Winter will certainly know that trying to get up there in the middle of the night is risky. You have the Rollins house where we conceivably saw a threat occurring. If Winter, you're aware of that. I don't know if you conveyed all of that to them.
Oh, is that a future event?
Winter, you got the impression that you were seeing something happening right then. I mean, your hunches are kind of this is getting me knowing where something's about to happen.
I think something's going to go down at the Rollins house. If it hasn't already, it's just about to.
Well, shit. Suddenly runs across to his car. Yeah.
All right.
Does Tommy slide across the hood?
Of course.
Y'all pile into the car and speed off. This is definitely in that neighborhood of mine houses that people have. Again, it's very common that they've expanded them, and the neighborhoods here these are people who really care about their how their houses are upkept, and it's nice and tidy. And as you drive up to the Rollins house, you see the lights are on. Winter, you do take note, considering what you just saw, that Babs's car is not on the street anymore yet. Hard to tell. But as you pull up in front of the Rollins house, you all three notice that the door is kind of ajar. And you hear inside a shotgun blast. Tommy, what are you doing?
I was going to look to Tommy. He's our Tommy Derringer. It's in the name, right?
Yeah, I mean, so I've got a pistol. I'm pulling my pistol, and I think we need to see what's going on in there. Let's go. It's probably nothing. Probably just shooting at bats.
you go running up towards the door, or moving up towards the door. You've got your pistol drawn.
Yep.
Winter, are you following behind? Do you have any sort of weapon? Are you holding back?
I'm following, but I'm definitely not trying to get in front of anyone.
Excellent. And
I'll say I'll have my mysterious giant knife that I was keeping somewhere on my body.
Lady has to protect herself. And Daniel?
Well, you hear the sound of that gun, and Daniel swears, pops open the boot, opens a gun safe carefully, like gets the two, and he's like, oh, fuck, shit. And he's like running up. You know, he wasn't packed and strapped ready for it. It just carries it with him, kind of thing.
All right.
He's got a mobile phone in one hand as well, like, shit.
Tommy, you're first to the door. And as you kind of reach and push it open, the smell of gunpowder hits your nose, and you could hear back, this was originally a shotgun house. So in other words, it has one long hall stretching back.
Mm-hmm.
The back is where your kitchen is. You would have the living room up front, and down the hall on either side would be bedrooms. They've built onto the house, so you can see where in this front room, the living room, you can see that there is where the build on is. There's a door to the right of the living room where it's built on, and there's probably a hallway and another couple of rooms that they built on. But right down that hallway, you see Luke coming out of his bedroom door, obviously having heard the shotgun blast as well, and he's got a baseball bat in his hand. Further down, you hear this low growl, deep guttural growl, and you hear a man, oh shit, and maybe some sort of fumbling, like with a metal sound.
I think I've got to do it. I'm going to run in. I'm going to run down towards the direction of the sound. If it's straight down, I'm heading straight down. I'll barrel past Tommy. Tell him to wait.
Luke,
yeah. Tell him to wait so that what's a bat going to do against a bear.
Yeah, he says, "Who the hell are Mr. Derringer?" As you kind of move back or move by him, and Daniel kind of coming in behind, Winter behind him, and Luke kind of looks over towards you. What are y'all doing here? As Tommy, you enter into the kitchen, you see pressed up against the refrigerator and a counter, you see Marvin Rollins. He's fumbling with a shotgun, trying to put shells in it, while in front of him is this enormous dog. It's probably 4 foot at the shoulder, pitch black. And as you walk in, it bites forward towards Rollins, and you see it grab that shotgun and just rip it out of his hands and toss it to the side.
Well, it looks like Lassie's come home, and I'm going to go ahead and try to distract it. There's no way he's trapped there where he is, and I'm going to use my pistol. I'm going to kick some ass here.
Aren't you kicking some ass, or are you protecting someone?
You know what? Actually, yeah, I am actually protecting in this case. You're right.
Okay.
Forgot about that move in Monster of the Week. All right, so tough is +1 as well. So, I don't have a hold currently. I've got a 5. Anybody helping would do. You get a +2
1
in Monster, or it brings you up to the next level.
It's
you just get
+1.
one.
You just get 1. So I'm going to re-roll as I can.
Okay. Using your move.
Oh, yes, I got a 12. No, I got an
Nice.
11. It already has the modifier. I got an 11.
All right. So with a 10 plus, first off, on a 7 plus, you protect them okay, but you'll suffer some or all of the harm they were going to. But on a 10 plus, you get to choose an extra. Do you see them?
Yep, I'm looking at them right now, and I am going to I'm gonna hold the enemy back. Oh, so many tough choices there to pick one.
Okay. So hold the enemy back. So it's going to as you move forward to try and distract it, you've got your gun leveled at it, you've made a noise, and it turns and just like lightning quick bites back in your direction. You're going to take 3 damage as it bites you.
Ouch. That's pain.
As it bites into your leg. And there's the pain of the bite. There's also like this numbing cold that sort of just sinks into the wound as it bites and sort of pulls and blood begins flowing. But in that as you do that, Rollins takes the chance, the opportunity, and he scoots around so that he could get out from being cornered, and has come around, and he's behind you, so that now the two of you, the dog is over there, staring with its red eyes at the two of you.
And I'm going to use it triggered my occult confidential to be able to ask one of the questions from Investigative Mystery, which I'm going to pick, what can hurt it? Because I don't think our guns are going to help much in this situation.
Your guns will hurt, but you cannot kill it with your guns. You know that.
All right.
But as you look at it, you're not sure why it pops into your mind. Maybe it's reading so many of the things before. Maybe it's the stuff you've heard. But it's going to take something heavy, something sharp, something like a pickaxe.
We don't have that, but we can hopefully push it back. All right, that's good. That's good.
Daniel, you're next in, and you step around and see this thing. Now, do you have any triggers for first time seeing something?
I do. I have Occam's broadsword. When I first encounter something strange, I can ask the creature what sort of thing it is. Is it a natural or unnatural creature, a weird phenomenon, or a person? I think it's an unnatural creature.
It is.
Correct. And I get +1 forward whenever I deal with it. So every roll I do against this thing, I get +1, which is such a good boost to everything you do in this game. I think I see Tommy firing his gun, being blown aside, but then still firing, and the monster taking the shots and just sort of shrugging them off. And I see a fire extinguisher above the stove. And I would like to grab it and try and blind the dog with it, basically.
Neat. Okay.
So can this be act under pressure? And due to a weird monster, or because I have a move that says due to a monster, phenomenon, or mystical effect, I might roll +weird instead of +cool.
Absolutely.
So.
Yeah, because you're trying to get it. You're trying to do something on you. You're not trying to hurt it.
Yeah. Da-da-da. That is a 10.
Oh, fantastic. You spraying this thing over at it, and it's making, again, that low growl, but as this hits it, it kind of does this almost howl, kind of trying to take its breath in to howl, but coughs as the stuff hits it. And something in you says, thank God it did not get off that howl.
Ooh. Yeah, I think as it's starting to howl, it's people grab their ears and then it's yeah.
Winter, you've come behind Daniel into where you could see this. I don't know if you have anything that's on a first seeing. No, I don't think so. But you sense someone beside you at your shoulder. And as you kind of glance, you see that woman from your bedroom. She's crying. Her face is in such anguish. Don't let them hurt her. She doesn't want to do this. I love her. What are you doing?
I am going to say to the spirit, if you can't stop her, we have to. And I am foolhardily going to go into the kitchen, grab the inevitable iron skillet, and attempt to whack it upside the head. Because I know that iron may or may not fuck it up, but can't hurt to try.
All right. That sounds like some kick some ass. So let's have you roll tough.
Come on. 7.
All right. With a 7, you and whatever you're fighting inflict harm on each other. So I'm going to say that I think that an iron skillet's going to do a solid 3 points of harm. I think that's you're whacking it and it's kind of already not able to see well, and you get a solid katong on this thing's head. And it like shakes your hands hitting this thing, as despite the solid hit, this thing's massive head, it sort of shakes it. You think you hurt it, but not like you should have. For our game purposes, it has armor too. But you did do damage to it. And I would also like for you to roll a manipulate someone because of what you said to the spirit. So roll with charm.
I believe this is not my strong suit. Let's see. And my charm is -1, so 7.
Okay. They'll do it, but only if you do something for them right now. Show them. Okay. You whack this thing, and maybe it's like, there's a bit of shock of, oh crap, that should have cracked its head wide open, but it didn't. And you kind of glance, your friends are there, everybody's faced off against this thing, and you see that spirit step out of the hallway and just sort of step over Marvin Rollins. And Marvin, his whole demeanor changes. His face gets this look of sadness. Tears begin coming down out of his eyes. My love, he's not here. I am here. Just go now. Just go. And Marvin looks up at the three of you. Please, just let her go. And you see the dog, like where it looked over and the growl as it looked at Marvin, and then it shifts, like it doesn't recognize what it's seeing. That anger is sort of left, and it lets out almost like a cry of sadness, a cry of pain. But you see it's trying to edge to get out the back door. Are y'all going to let it leave?
I think Luke comes in with that baseball bat, and Daniel's like, no, grabs him and pushes him back against the wall, because this thing is big and dangerous.
Winter, you letting it leave?
Definitely.
Tommy?
Is this something that everyone saw, or do I need to communicate it to them?
You're the only one that saw that spirit step in and kind of just, she possessed him. You know exactly what happened. The other two of you saw Marvin change. I mean, you could see a definite difference from him being scared and, looking like he was ready to fight for his life and his son to that look. And Tommy, you're letting it get away as well?
Yeah, I mean, I know that, I can unload the rest of my clip on it. It's not going to really do much other than, hurt it a bit and annoy it more. And I've already been hit pretty bad. I don't see any pickaxes in the room. I'm letting it go. That's better than chasing it.
It edges around and gives one last look towards Marvin and lets out this kind of whimper that all of you can feel the sadness and longing and regret. And then it turns and smashes through the back door, just shatters it off of its hinges and disappears into the night. As Marvin goes, What the hell was that thing? Luke, you all right? Luke. And he goes running back towards Luke, giving the three of you a moment there in this kitchen. Tommy, your leg hurts like hell.
Ow. Wow. That thing was bigger than I thought it would be. And it seems like it winged me a bit.
You nearly had him, Tommy.
Oh, no. I couldn't have done it without you guys' help.
I hate to break it to you, Tommy, but I don't think you're going to be able to get that patched up at the local doctors.
No, but
How do you feel about a trip out to the woods?
I'm fine. I've got two legs. I mean, if you guys don't mind me hobbling along with you.
Winter,
I'm just like a winged bird. I can still walk.
I think I have an idea of where you're going in the woods, but
I would like to take everyone to Granny's. Possibly at some point I would also like to tell them that I don't think that that's the monster.
Okay, then why don't we have y'all get into the car? We've done a quick wrap, Tommy. You wrapped it up, but again, it doesn't hurt as bad soon. It throbs, but there's a numbness to it, and despite wrapping it, you cannot seem to get it to stop bleeding. And so in the car, why don't we, rather than a full scene, is it fair to say, Winter, kind of, do you tell them what just happened?
Yes. Soup to nuts. I tell them about seeing what's her name in my bedroom. I see about seeing her there. They now know everything that I know.
Okay. All right. I don't know. Is there? I think we probably data dumped out of Tommy and Daniel as well by this point, right? We've pretty much put everything on the table, right?
Yeah, entirely. Yeah. I always think that after the monster gets seen, everyone's got no reason to not say like, "Oh, this weird shit that happened." That's happened, So, obviously, I'm thinking that it's the Baba Pritchett's controlling this monster in some way. We need to catch up to the Pritchetts, is the main thing. So is that what everyone else is thinking?
I'm thinking my leg hurts.
Yeah,
it's kind of, I'm bleeding here. I don't want to slow anything down here. I don't want to be a bother to anybody, but I mean, I wouldn't mind.
All right, Tommy. All right, we're nearly there. It's just down on the left here, right, Winner?
You travel back down a off the paved road down a dirt road for quite some distance. And this is a dirt road that's been here for a very long time. So in the sense of it's sunken, where, the sides go up about 4 feet on either side of it because it's just been ridden for ages. And so it's got this weird claustrophobic feel to it as you travel back into the hills until it opens into this clearing, trees all around it. And you can see there are several structures here. 2 of them are smaller houses, like 4-room houses that definitely don't look like they're used anymore. They've got that abandoned kind of look to them, not well painted anymore. But in the center is a 2-story farmhouse. It is still well painted, but definitely old. And as you come driving up and the lights of the car pan across, first off, it's lit, but it's not electricity. You can see lanterns inside are providing that yellow light, and there's one lantern on the porch. And as you drive up, you can see there's an old woman sitting on a rocking chair underneath that lantern. And as you park, Winter, you open the door. Gentlemen, y'all open the door as well. The old lady stands up. You can see she's got a mason jar with some brown liquid inside of it. And she stands up and says, "Winter, I've been expecting you. Who's your friends?"
This is Tommy and this is Daniel, Granny.
Well, come on up to the porch. Have your seat. And as you move up, anybody need a drink?
Daniel's holding Tommy, for him to limp along the side as we walk up.
Anybody need a drink? Son, your leg's bleeding.
It's no bother. I mean, if a drink sounds great right now, but little. I mean, I think I'm feeling a little lightheaded, but I'll be okay. I think. No need to. And then at that point, I think I pass out from loss of blood.
So, I know that Granny knows, but I also know that I have to tell her. Granny, he got bit by the black dog.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. And she reaches over and she's got a rather large bottle of Jack Daniels sitting beside her. And you note that there are 3 other mason jars already sitting on the table. And she pours out some into each of them as she puts the bottle down. Lay him down here on the porch. And despite her age, and this is an old woman, she's still pretty spry. She squats down, lifting up her little gingham dress. She says, it's a nasty one. She unwinds the wound. Winter, why don't you go grab my bag out of the kitchen? He's going to need a little doctoring. And
I do.
You bring back her bag, and she opens it up. And Daniel, this is not a doctor's bag like you've seen before. Inside, there are little bottles. There are burlap little baggies. And she sort of fiddles through and brings out a couple of these little baggies and one of the bottles. And
Daniel looks very dubiously at this sort of medicine. He's down with all kinds of weird stuff, but he's like, Tommy's going to lose that leg.
And she lays out these things beside Tommy, and you see her bring out a linen handkerchief from the bag. She pours things from her little bags there. You see herbs, something you would swear is dirt. And she pours something out of one of those bottles, just a couple of little drops, reaches down with her finger and kind of stirs it into a mud. And then she pulls back and spits into it. Takes that handkerchief and puts it right down on top of Tommy's wound. Wraps it up really good and tight. And then she moves up to his head and surprisingly gently lifts his head up. And taking one of those mason jars of Jack Daniels, she wets his lips. And Tommy, it's a bit of a shock, but you wake up with the taste of whiskey on your lips. But you are healed for 2 harm.
Oh, wow. That is some really excellent whiskey. That's done the trick.
She stands back up and her knees kind of pop. She goes, "Oh, the whole regiment firing. Oh." And she sits down back at her rocking chair. You shouldn't have been tangling with that black dog. Mean, that black dog.
I was trying to keep somebody safe. I wouldn't have gone messing with that thing myself if I saw it.
She points to the stairs to the porch. "Oh, have a sit. Winter, tell old Granny what makes you want to be messing with that dog."
You remember Tammy, Granny?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I heard
She's
she's gone
missing.
missing. Yeah. That's sad.
Kind of fond of her. And pretty sure it's Mama Babs, who I'm not fond of.
Babs. Well, that's not too surprising. You know, that black dog's always been mixed up with them Pritchett's.
I think the black dog's just part of the holler, Granny. If the Pritchetts leave it alone, it'll leave us alone.
You know, it's a sad story. I remember my mama telling me about it. I couldn't have been more than a sprig of a lass. Polly Pritchett was supposed to be one of the prettiest girls around Dalton. And that husband of hers, he was a right asshole. They say she found comfort with another when he found out he's mighty jealous. Went chasing the 2 of them. Polly was planning to run away. I believe the girl's name was Myra, she was involved with. So they were going to leave the holler, going to find them somewhere that they could be without that asshole of a husband bothering them no more. They didn't make it all the way out of the valley, though, before he found them. They say he picked up a pickaxe, took to swinging. And poor old Polly, she fell. But you know, these hills, she looks over at you, Tommy and Daniel. Well, maybe you boys don't. These hills, they'll hear you.
I'm starting to get that feeling, yeah.
You ask for something. Sometimes the hills will give it to you. Well, Myra was loyal to Polly. She loved her. She went plumb mad seeing her struck down like that. She asked to be able to get her vengeance. Well, the hills, they answered. They gave her strength. She ripped that pickaxe right out of his hands. She buried it all the way to the handle, right in his motherfucking head. But these hills, they'll give. They give at a cost. Myra's turned into something. Something that's supposed to protect Polly's children. Something to protect the ones she loved. But, like many gifts, they can be twisted. They can be used for harm. Not all gifts, and she kind of pats you on the shoulder, Winter. Not all gifts are like that. But you got a sour heart, you got a black soul. Well, things you can do, well, they'll make the devil blush. Now, I ain't one to talk ill of folks. That Babs, she's sour. She black. I think she probably found something of Polly's, something that meant a lot. You know, that husband of hers, Ralph, he ain't falling off no cliff. He's chased.
Sexy.
He's chased by the dog. And ain't the first one. There have been Pritchett's before that, well, they were weak. They used things they shouldn't. Ain't the dog's fault. Dog's just doing what the dog forced to do. You know, maybe that poor old dog deserves to have some rest.
Miss, do you think any of the missing are alive?
The dog don't want to hurt nobody. But it ain't fond of men folk. Something's still part of what caused it. Now, that anger's still inside it. But women folk, maybe. Maybe something up in that mind. Maybe it finds a way. It has to get rid of them. But getting rid of and killing, that ain't always the same thing. But I can't say for sure.
Okay. Could we investigate a mystery using this, this conversation?
Certainly. Who wants to take lead on it?
Tommy, would you like to bring your gumshoe skills to the...
Yep, I will do that. Roll +2. 12. Dang.
Oh, very good. All right. So you're going to get 2 questions.
12 plus, I may ask any question.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Only if you've advanced the
Oh, that's an advance.
Oh, that's the
roll.
advance. So yeah, I didn't see the advance.
Right.
You're right.
And I am going to this is off topic for 2 seconds, but I am almost certain I'm going to start giving advanced rolls in games because I never play a game long enough somebody gets an advanced roll. So I think soon I'm going to start giving those, but not today. You got 10 plus. You got 2 holds.
So I think, well, we want to track it, right? I think
Well,
Yes.
I think we've got two different things that we can be asking questions about, right? Because we've got the monster,
Right.
or we've got Babs's control over it, you know?
Right. In a lot of ways, we may be thinking here, who's the real monster in this, and who's the minion?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Oh, I'm straight up saying that the dog isn't the monster.
Yeah, I mean,
Babs is the monster.
yeah, I think I'm gonna go with so I guess what is being concealed here? Like, how is Babs being able to conceal this so well?
All right. With all the information you've gotten, you're pretty sure she controls it through the locket. And how she's concealing it, is people don't want to believe there's a supernatural dog going out because this woman sits it. But along with that is, the using of this sort of stuff, this sort of black magic, it wants to protect the users. It wants to bring them deeper and deeper in. And so Babs no, there's no probably. You're asking the question. There's something that keeps that locket from being seen all the time. No one, Winter, you've never seen it on her. Only through mystic means have you gotten a vision of it. So something makes it not noticeable to people. And there's something about Babs that keeps deflecting this sort of suspicion off of her. Some sort of psychic or magical deflection.
And then I think what I do is, I guess, what could hurt this protection that she's got? Not hurt her directly, but what could help us get through whatever protection she's using?
Yeah, because I don't imagine this being a story where we go over to Babs and just gangland execute her in the middle of the time.
Yeah, I don't think we're doing that. I mean, we could try and see what happens.
You know that what the dog is supposed to do, what it can do, is meant to do is protect the Pritchett descendants. If you can figure some way that what she's doing is not doing that, then its hold would be broken with her. Or another Pritchett could take it from her.
Mm-hmm. All right. And we're here with Granny, so there's no reason not to, they're hearing all of this as we're asking.
The Pritchett's neighbor told me a funny story about how Ralph Pritchett was sleeping around the time that Sissy was born.
That's the rumor.
Tammy's about the same age. I wonder.
Could be a Pritchett. Wouldn't be the first illegitimate child born in these mountains.
You feel pretty certain that, well, okay, it would surprise you if Miss Blaylock was cheating on her husband with him.
Oh, okay. Shame.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull that one off. You don't think?
Yeah.
I want to keep those Blaylocks. I don't think that was the case.
Fair enough. That's fine.
And in your studies, you kind of, just to clear us down, at the same time that Ralph died is when Lucy Stiles, you saw, she disappeared as well. Probably the person that he was fooling around with.
Yeah. So, how do we want to come at Babs, though, is the question. Because And do we need to find Tammy? You know?
Granny says, you know, that Sissy and Tammy were mighty close. It'd be a real big surprise to me if she knew what her mama done.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. Let's go and try and find Sissy then. And Winter is probably the best person to approach Sissy, I would have thought, rather than two strange men from out of town.
So let's go find Sissy.
Granny.
I bet.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Given what we know about Sissy, if we can catch Luke either on his way to or from the mine, we can probably find Sissy.
Granny.
Oh, find Luke and Sissy together. Nice.
She
Granny
kind of seems to be following him.
Granny smiles and
It's true.
kind of pats your shoulder, Winter, and says, now, I ain't seen you much as I'd like to, Winter. Why don't you come on back up and visit and bring me some of that good stuff off the top shelf over at the Stag?
Of course, Granny. Sorry I haven't been up as much as I'd like.
And she kind of leans in and gives you a little kiss on the cheek. And you boys, it's nice meeting you. And, well, if you happen to be around these parts, you can drop in on old Granny. I like a visitor, especially one that brings gifts.
As we've heard. I know what kind of gift to bring.
I ain't gonna let them forget that they owe you, Granny.
And so you head out. You get back to the car. Granny sits back down in her chair, and we see your car head off. And this is more for just our viewers on our television show that's there. You see Granny sit and rock and sip at her drink for a minute. And then you see an image of that crying woman. Granny says, I told them, don't be fretting. It's about over. Your car, you're driving. Now, it's late, but... And you know that the Rollins house has been sort of in a mess. So 10-1, Luke's not going anywhere tonight. So why don't we, especially since we're hitting the last 30 minutes, why don't we flash to probably, I mean, y'all might want to stake out or watch Luke's place, or you may just get some rest. But the next day is where we're going to pick up. Coming by the Rollins place, you could see that Luke's car is gone, and I'm going to give just a quick, for time's sake, you meet with Marvin, who wants to thank you. Y'all took off so quick. I didn't have a chance to thank you. That wasn't no bear.
Where did Luke go, Mr. Rollins?
He's still out there looking for Tammy. I told him that he's going to get himself hurt, but he said there's only one place he ain't looked yet. I think he was going to the cash money.
The mine.
Yeah.
Well,
We'll get him back. And then,
Let's go
smash
take
it
an
to the mine.
ill-advised trip.
All right. You drive, and Winter, you have no problem getting them to where you can stop the car. You're going to have to walk most of that distance. But as you pull up, you see Luke is out of his car, and he drives a little Charger. And you see that he's talking with Sissy. Her Datsun 210 is there. And you see that they're having, not really heated, but she's crying. And he looks upset as you drive up. But maybe it's because, Tommy, you're kind of a paranoid guy. You've been in a lot of desperate situations over the years. As you pull into this kind of stretch to get to the trails, you look and you see parked up a ways is an old beat up Lincoln.
Pointed out to Winter and Daniel. Looks like we arrived just in time. And
Luke and Sissy look over at the car and go ahead.
Yeah, so I think I'm gonna get out of the car and wait for the rest, and then I don't know. Do we want to watch what happens and wait until Babs makes herself known, or do we want to interfere and kind of intercept Tommy and Sissy first?
What do you think, Winter?
I think we should say something to Sissy like, "We're looking for your mama, and looks like she's right there."
Sissy goes, Winter, what's Mama doing up there? And Luke goes, these are the folks I was telling you about. Winter and her friends here. The dog came into my house last night. They saved Daddy. Sissy's like, well, Winter, why's Mama here? What do you want?
I think that Sissy is local enough that she's not going to be super surprised. Like, she's maybe not the sharpest knife in the drawer, but she's not going to be super surprised to find out that there is a black dog, someone's controlling it. And I suspect she and her mom don't get along real well. So I'm going to give her like whatever the 30-second, whatever the elevator pitch of our theory is. And like, hopefully Tommy and Daniel are like heading off to the Lincoln as I'm giving Sissy the bare minimum of information.
Okay. Is that what you two are doing, Daniel, Tommy? Okay.
Yeah, that's good. I like that.
All right. As you two start walking towards the Lincoln, the door opens and Babs steps out. And she kind of walks to the front of the car as y'all are coming together. And Sissy listens to Winter. That Mama wouldn't do that, would she? And let's roll and manipulate someone to see if Mama would do that. So rolling with charm.
That's a 7. Apparently it's all 7s today.
All right. They'll do it, but only if you do something for them right now to show you mean it. So, how I'm going to interpret that. You tell her this as she goes, Mama she says she just wants what's best for me. She says I need a good man with prospects. Somebody that'll get me out of here. You see her like edging her eyes towards Luke, which may not be the best, honestly, may not be the best option, but yeah. Looks like, Mama would do. And we're going to kind of cut over to the two of you as you approach Babs. She says, "What the hell you two want?"
Miss Pritchett, don't you think this has gone too far? All of this?
I don't know what you're talking about.
A locket, a dog. I think you do know what we're talking about.
You see her clutch at her neck. And she kind of does like this. You don't see anything in her hand. Dog. Now, what you talking about a dog? You mean some sort of dog that would stalk you? Some sort of dog that would rip out your insides, leave your mangled corpses here where nobody gonna find them?
I don't think the dog would do that unless you were telling it to.
She looks past you. And she could see the conversation. It's distant, but she could see the conversation going on.
Your daughter knows now. She knows what you were doing.
She was going to have to know eventually. This passes on from one daughter to another. And as she says that, you hear a howl in the woods and a sound like something busting through the branches.
If your daughter sees you murder people in front of her, she'll never forgive you.
I don't think she'll put on that locket.
Oh. You don't know how tempting it can be. She'll feel it. We all do. My mama, my gran. We all thought we were better than that. We were pure. Once the dog starts howling. And as she says that, out from the woods steps that enormous creature. Back over with you, Winter. Sissy's talking to you. She said, "Mama wouldn't," and you see her jaw kind of drop as she looks past you down the road. You look over as you see, and Luke's like, "What the holy shit!" And he's backed up against the car, and he looks very scared. Winter, what do you do?
Luke, you're probably the safest person here. Get in your car. I assume that, since this Luke is the prospect that Babs is trying to get Sissy, that the dog is probably not going to kill Luke.
And he says, "Yes, ma'am," and gets in the car. Mama's Winter, you're telling the truth. What's she gonna do to those two men?
She hasn't killed him. She's gonna. She hasn't killed Tammy. She might.
Tam? Oh. No. You gotta help me. We gotta stop her.
I think that I'd take Sissy and we head over to Babs.
All right. The two of you begin walking up the road.
Like, Sissy doesn't want to walk towards the dog, but I'm not entirely giving her a choice.
And she's taking strength from the fact that you're there with her. So as you begin walking up, you could see the dog step between Babs and Daniel and Tommy. Daniel, let's go with you first. I think I've been doing Tommy a bit first here. We'll switch over to you. What do you do?
Daniel is just backing away from this, and he's just saying, Mrs. Pritchett, how many more deaths is it going to take? Does it make you happy? Does any of this?
You don't understand. I gotta take care of the family. Sissy needs to. She needs a good husband, someone to take care of her.
And I'm just backing, like it's very like he's cautious of the hound. He's just backing away, but like he's not going to shoot her or But
Tommy, what are you doing?
I think splitting the target somewhat, and I had something in mind that I was going to tell her, and now I've forgotten. Oh, good God. Oh, well. All right. So there goes that line. line. So yeah, I'm gonna split the target, and I'm gonna say, maybe it's time you pass the locket tonight. And let your daughter decide.
Roll to manipulate someone.
All right, so that is Charm 1. Oops, that's the wrong tab. Just take that down. I got an 8. Anybody want to help?
We can only push you one more.
Yeah.
So it would still be a 9.
Oh yeah. So I'm gonna burn a luck point. Actually,
There you go.
This is a good time for it. Yeah, I think I'm spending the luck.
She goes, you. And she kind of looks past you as Sissy and Winter have kind of gotten to you. The dog is crouched and growling. Sissy, I did all of this for you. The dog is ours to command. You know it's the right thing. We can't have these folks seeing what's happened. They gotta go. Sissy says, Mama, what happened to Tammy? Sissy, she was in your way. She was in the way of you and your bow. I had to get rid of her. And Sissy starts walking forward. Mama, that ain't right. And she walks up, and as she passes the dog, it kind of pulls off of that growl, and you see it sniff at her hand. Mama, I don't need that. I don't need to have you do things like that. Let's stop this. Babs goes, no. Our family's always been able to do this. And she grabs the locket. Get them. Get them. And the dog looks at her, looks at Sissy, and sits down by Sissy's hand. Sissy reaches over and kind of strokes its head. It's over, Mama. And she reaches out, and as it passes into her hand, the moment you see the locket, Babs just sort of breaks down. She starts crying. Sissy looks at the locket. We don't need this anymore, Winter. Do you know where it should go?
Give it to the dog, Sissy.
She leans down and she puts the chain over the dog's neck. And for a moment, the dog shifts. And you see this woman, beautiful and happy. And out of the woods, and all of you can see this, you see the crying lady crying no more. Her face filled with joy as she runs up to her and throws her arms around her. And then they're gone. And that was the dog days of Dalton.
Excellent. Excellent.
So we got a couple of minutes. If folks don't mind, just as a little quick decompress, we could do a stars round. No use for wishes. If you don't know what that is, a lot of folks do a stars and wishes after a game. Stars are kind of saying something you liked about the game, the system, your fellow players, things that you enjoyed. Wishes are generally stuff that, you'd like to see coming up or things that could be different. If you have something in the wishes, feel free. But since we're in a one-shot, I think a round of stars would be nice. So I think I've been going clockwise all this time before. So let's reverse it and start with you, Kim. Kim, any stars you'd like to give out for our session?
You for Granny, but everything else. Tommy, the bit where you're injured, and like being polite to Granny as you're passing out was amazing.
Oh,
Daniel, I have no idea how you appeared to be Constantine in this game, but props.
Yeah, that was a pretty good Constantine.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Will, stars?
I enjoyed how it seemed to work for a small town situation. It felt very supernatural and kind of the backwoodsy. And the dog was a really cool monster. I like the idea of the pickaxe being the thing that could hurt it as well. And the fact that we kind of came up with a peaceful solution, rather than just unloading shotguns into it. Because I was looking at all the playbooks and thinking, well, the professional can come heavily armed into any situation. So, but yeah, I enjoyed that kind of, there's a high body count, but there's not all violence really, Yeah.
Cool. Thank you very much. Scott, stars?
Actually, so star, normally I only do one star, but in one shots. I'm going to avoid the rule. I'm going to ignore it altogether. I'm going to give Tyler a star for spotlight management. It was really, really good how you move the spotlight around so that we all got time, which I actually really appreciate that. Not having the spotlight, but then also because not having the spotlight lets me think. I actually echo comments about Will in terms of like how playing it very much in this, and I know Constantine from the comics, and it was like Constantine from the comics. I was like, I know this person that he's playing. It's so great. You did a really good job. Winter, I liked how you used your powers in a way that wasn't kind of like, because that role can very easily be that you're just this weirdo outsider kind of thing, almost like the weird. And I liked how you used it, and it integrated well with this kind of mythology of the town with Granny and things like that. So I liked how you combined it with Tyler's background information. So thumbs up. It was a fun adventure, and I echo what Will said. It's nice to see a peaceful resolution in a Monster of the Week game. Often they're not.
I was going to ask. I'm like, I kind of got the impression that this was usually a murderier game.
Yeah, I mean, the concept of the system is that you find how to defeat it. There doesn't have to be violence, but in a lot of the games I've played, it has been. So,
thank you, Scott. I want to say stars to each of you. It was excellent playing with you, Kim. God, I hope I get to play with you more. I love this character, and I love how you embodied it. You could really tell who she was. She was tough. She was practical, and it's nice to see a spooky who their powers don't. The powers don't define them. You made them a part of a bigger whole, and that's really nice role playing. You didn't make the powers the character. The character had powers, and that is really, really nice. Because spooky is one that people love to play, and a lot of times you see it just be just a supernatural murder hobo, or you see it be so weird that you'd lose a character. You don't have as much character. You played it spot on. It was just so sweet and wonderful. Will, I love playing with you, buddy. Gosh almighty. That was, as always, you are spectacular. You do a really nice job of sharing what you're doing. And that generosity is so fun to be a part of. You take that role of centering stuff, and then you dole out. You're so good about that, and it was lovely to see. And again, always a spot on character, but just your play style is so generous and kind. Scott, we've been playing together a lot here lately, and gosh, it's a delight. This character, fun, neat. You always find the really thing to key in on and make every scene have something relevant and fun and interesting. I always marvel at how you role play. It's so much fun to watch. It's so much fun to be a part of. And I thought Tommy was fun. I would love to see having a series of Tommy stuff. It would be fun to see. I want to star Monster of the Week. It is probably one of my favorite games by PBTA. I think it's very versatile because a lot of people will say it's go out and fight a monster, blah, blah, blah. But I try to bring in heart with it. I try to bring in horror with it, and it always does what I need it to do. I'm pleased that we came up with a more peaceful solution. I ran a couple of tests of it, and I think the story lends itself to trying to understand the dog. And I was really pleased to see that that's where we went. I think the love story is kind of sweet. So I was really happy. Huge star for us leaning into that, and not necessarily deciding, we're going to track it to its lair and burn it with fire. So I'm glad we had, and I hope it was a satisfying conclusion. I hope that was cool. Well, I'm going to end the recording. And then if you'll hold just a second till after I'll ask a couple of questions. But I hope folks are enjoying GCOG. I hope the rest, if you have more games, you get to enjoy them. Folks at home, if you enjoyed this game, go look up Gauntlet. Like I say, gauntlet-rpg.com. We got lots of games. We run a bunch of stuff. Find us. If you enjoyed what I do, you can probably find me on YouTube. I have a bunch of games up there. Tyler Lominack. And if you like watching and playing games, go out there, do it more. We all should be doing it. And if you enjoyed my games, then watch more.